Qinling said, "Everyone, during the process of alchemy, let's carefully study the pill theories that Long Fei has spoken of. It might be helpful to us." Although he was unwilling to accept the results. But there must be a reason why Long Fei was able to defeat Yi Changfeng. No one was stupid. They also wanted to raise the alchemy technique up, although they disdained to say it, but in their hearts, they wanted to learn Long Fei's alchemy techniques. What did you say? Yurong entered the Xian, Yu mountain range? Yes, she went in with Long Fei. From what I know, she didn't accept any sect missions. A Zhou family disciple, he would always remember the mission to enter the Xian Yu sect. After listening for a moment, Zhou Yuan muttered, Yurong being dismissed, this is most likely all part of Liu Xian's arrangements to let her out of her body to do something else. That thing might be in the Xian Yu sect, but it's very likely to be somewhere in the Xian Yu mountain range. Saying this, Zhou Yuan's eyes flashed with a bright light, and he said, "Heavenly note, ask the great general to send people into the Xian Yu mountain range." "Yes, sir." In addition, Zhou Yuan laughed coldly and said, "Tell me about the seventh prince's situation." With Yi Changfeng dead, the seventh prince is now like a tortoise who has been withdrawn into its tortoise shell. He doesn't even dare to leave the door, for fear that Long Fei will take his life. This hedonistic prince must be used to his advantage. Ever since Yi Changfeng was killed, Zhao Yiqian hid in his living quarters with his tail between his legs. The key point was he wanted to leave the Xian Yu sect, but he couldn't. He was on tenterhooks every day, afraid that Long Fei would cause trouble for him. Miao Chong had not moved an inch away from her for the past few days. Even so, he was still worried. He continued to send out his bodyguards to call for reinforcements and investigate the situation in the capital. However, after leaving one by one, he became like a stone sinking into the ocean. There was no response. This made Zhao Yiqian even more afraid in his heart. "Yes, sir." One of the Zhou family disciples immediately walked out of his room and activated the Heavenly Note message. Heavenly Note sect, this was the special method of communication used in the army. Under normal circumstances, it was only used in times of emergency. He absolutely could not use it for himself. However, the Zhou family was the family that controlled an army of 1,000,000 people, and Zhou Yaozong was even a peak Zhen Wu realm powerhouse. However, the moment the Heavenly Note message was activated, Gui Qingshan's eyes trembled. Heavenly Note sex message. "Zhou family?" Miao Chong also quickly rushed over and said, "General, it's the sound wave from Sky Sound Transmission Technique." Others didn't know. However, the two of them were extremely familiar with the sound waves of the Heavenly Note message because the Heavenly Note sect was developed by Gui Qingshan. Gui Qingshan said, "Does the Zhou family need to make a move?" Miao Chong said, "Could it be that the Zhou family has discovered something?" Gui Qingshan slightly said, "Could it be about the Xian Yu secret territory?" Miao Chong said, "I heard that there is a tomb of a true martial emperor below the Xian Yu secret territory. Is that true? The Zhao family must be here for this tomb, right?" Gui Qingshan shook his head. "I'm not sure yet, but the Xian Yu sect must have something that the Zhou and Zhao families coveted. What exactly is it?" Miao Chong asked, "Does sect mastery not know?" Gui Qingshan said, "I asked him, but he doesn't know." And then Gui Qingshan said, "Miao Chong, keep an eye on the seventh prince and also send people to observe the Zhou family's movements. If Zhou Yaozong personally makes a move, it means that the Zhou family must have made some huge discoveries, so you must immediately think of ways to control Zhou Yuan and the others. If it's any other Zhou family powerhouse, then we'll just wait and see." Miao Chong immediately said, "Okay, I will do it immediately." Yi Yorong's every move was being monitored by the Zhou family. Similarly, had also spied on Zhou Yuan and the other Zhou family disciples. After Yi Yorong, Long Fei, and the others left the sect, Zhou Yuan immediately went to the task palace to accept a normal mission from the Xian Yu mountain range. Originally, it was a 1-star mission, but this time, more than 10 disciples from the Zhou family went out together. Your Highness, I'll personally go this time. I'll definitely bring you good news. Miao Chong said heavily. Zhao Yiqian said, All right. You must see my mother and get him to send more powerhouse. I want to kill all of them. Miao Chong was startled for a moment, and then said, Okay. Miao Chong also left. He did not go to the southern palace, but followed Zhou Yuan and the others into the Xianyu mountain range. Long Fei, Yi Yorong said, Up ahead is the Xianyu mountain range. Everyone take a break after entering the mountain range. Listen to my instructions. You must not go down the wrong path. There were many demon beasts in the mountain, so normal demon beasts were easy to deal with. However, once they met abnormal Great 7 rating monster and beasts, they would die for sure. Long Fei was secretly excited. It's time to level up. Chapter 23-29 Doesn't Listen, Fight in the Future. Chapter 23-29 Doesn't Listen, Fight in the Future. In Xianyu mountain range, demon beast ran rampant and was incomparably dangerous. However, Yi Yorong's deific consciousness could reach up to a few thousand meters and could always ingeniously avoid these demon beasts. Not even a wild animal. Long Fei didn't gain any experience at all. He was truly depressed in his heart. He had come here to level up, but what about the EXP? We'll rest here tonight and continue our journey tomorrow morning. The 5 of them walked into the man-made cave. This cave was dug by those who ventured into the mountain range for the purpose of resting at night. He lit a bonfire. Xiao Dai, Thin Monkey, and the big-sized trio were surrounding the bonfire, organizing the spirit grass that they had collected today. Long Fei and Yi Yorong were standing guard outside the cave. Long Fei could not help but ask, What are you looking for after entering the mountain this time? Yi Yorong looked up at the stars in the sky and said indifferently, Find something. Long Fei asked, What is it? Yi Yorong shook his head and said, I'm not too sure either. I should be clear about it once we reach there. You don't even know what these things are, yet you've come to such a dangerous mountain range to search for them. Are you kidding? However, with Yi Yorong's cultivation, she had enough power to protect herself in this dangerous forest. She could completely avoid demon beast. Even if she met a powerful big demon beast, she could still escape. Finding something wasn't too hard. Seeing that Yi Yorong did not say anything, he did not pursue the matter further and asked, Oh, right, where are you from? How is the black scale carving doing? I haven't seen him for the past few days. Long Fei missed her a little. Yi Yorong slightly said, The injuries on its body have yet to heal. When she thought of the black scale carving, she immediately thought of her current self. Similarly, the injuries on her body had not healed yet as well. The Infinity Burning Sword's damage was too strong. The burning poison had penetrated deep into her bone marrow, and it was basically impossible to completely remove it. Unless there was some kind of Daluo gold pill, this kind of burning poison would accompany her for the rest of her life. Swallowing her cultivation, True Qi, he was continuously eating away at her. Long Fei asked, Still not done yet? Yi Yorong revealed a bitter smile. Its internal organs were all injured, displaced, and suffered extremely serious internal injuries. Right now, it can only barely suppress the pain in its body. Healing is too difficult. Even if it is cured, I'm afraid that it will never have the chance to break through again in this lifetime. There was a faint pain. Long Fei looked at Yi Yorong. He could feel that the wound on Yi Yorong's abdomen was still there, and the reason she was wearing such a tight suit was definitely because her abdomen was wrapped in a layer of bandage, causing her to tremble from the pain. He didn't have the ability to see the wound, but Long Fei could feel it. Long Fei said slightly, "Let me see it next time. I'll think of a way." "And you?" Yi Yorong was faintly moved, but she knew in her heart that there was no antidote for the infinite burning sword's poison, and that even the elders of the Ming clan could not do anything about it. No matter how powerful Long Fei was, he wouldn't be able to save her. However, Yi Yorong's heart felt warm. There was a man who cared about her. The two fell silent. Late at night, from afar, the roars and growls of demon beast constantly came. The nights were their domain. Demon beasts were much more powerful than their daytime counterparts. Furthermore, most of them moved at night, looking for food. As Long Fei listened to the demon beast's roars, his heart began to itch. Experience, these are all experience points. No way. I'm here to level up. I can't miss any chance. Immediately, Long Fei looked at Yi Yorong and said, "Go in the cave and rest. I'll keep watch." Yi Yorong said, "You should rest." Long Fei said, "I told you to go in and rest before going back. Where did all this nonsense come from? I've slept for 3 days and 3 nights, and I simply can't sleep now. Go quickly. If you don't go, how am I going to level?" Long Fei also muttered. Yi Yorong said, "What?" Long Fei immediately said, "I said, a woman cannot stay up late. If she stays up late, she will become ugly." Yi Yorong rolled her eyes at Long Fei. Her divine sense had sensed it before, but there weren't any demon beast in this area, so there wouldn't be any danger. "Rest well. I'll prepare breakfast for you tomorrow morning." Yi Yorong walked into the cave. After half an hour, Long Fei was sure that she would not come out again. His figure flashed, and he leaped into the darkness, grinning sinisterly. "This is my world now." The sky sword moved. A gash appeared on his arm, and blood began to flow out, and the smell of blood began to spread in all directions. Demon Beast was extremely sensitive to the smell of blood. The human blood made them even more excited. Under normal circumstances, Demon Beast would be able to smell the scent of blood from a few kilometers away. But after Long Fei spat out a bit of fresh blood, all the Demon Beast within a radius of 10 kilometers started to throb. It was as if a gale had suddenly blown out of a calm lake. All of them were completely excited. It charged madly in Long Fei's direction, as if it had been injected with chicken blood. Boom, boom, boom. Rumble, rumble. All of a sudden, Demon Beast from all directions rushed over. They were stimulated by the smell of Long Fei's blood. As Long Fei heard the footsteps from all directions, he muttered, "Damn, this daddy's blood is that strong?" Only a powerful blood vein's power could cause so many demon beasts to go crazy. Demon beasts' reaction towards blood was tens of thousands of times more sensitive than humans. They could differentiate between the blood and the blood because the blood was that of gifted vein, and the strength that blood vein possessed was great. Long Fei had just spat out blood, but it did not even stop for half a second before the demon beast roared. What was his blood vein? And then he sucked the blood from his arm and said, "Let's find a chance and see what kind of blood vein we are." His expression shook. Holding the sky sword in his hand, Long Fei swept his gaze across the area, stared at a certain spot, and said, "You want to eat this daddy's meat, right? I will let you all die first." The sky sword moved. Long Fei quickly charged forward, looking at the incoming 3-rate monster and beast, Phantom Sword Dance. Kill! Boom! The powerful force of the sword move was released, and with 3 sword strikes, the 3-rate monster and beast was directly killed. Ding! Congratulations to player. Long Fei for killing 3-rate monster, and Beast for obtaining 1900 experience. True Chi knows 80 points, Arrogant God energy value, 1 point. Aren't you too inexperienced? It would be better to kill than to do so. Very bitter. Of course, not all demon beast could have as much experience as elixir experts. Continue. Long Fei yearned to level up, be it in a game or the current Zhenwu continent. Level was everything, especially the Zhenwu continent. There was nothing here that couldn't be worn. So the level was even more important. Body refinement, blood refinement, chi refinement, essence condensation, elixir, essence refinement, spirit refinement, arrogant form, large accomplishment, and finally the final Zhenwu realm. The higher the level, the stronger the strength. The more powerful one was. Long Fei needed to level up. If possible, he wanted to level up directly to the Zhenwu realm. He no longer had to be afraid of Yi Yurong. Then he would be able to ruthlessly crush her. Powerful women have strong charisma, but Long Fei still wished for her to be gentle, at least in front of him. Not obedient, strong on me. Chapter 23:30, Foodies. Chapter 23:30, Foodies kill. Long Fei continued to conjure sword moves. He did not defend at all, but he used all his strength to fight. Had also unleashed the moves of the Phantom Sword dance to its limits. Whoosh, 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 asterisk, whoosh, 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 asterisk, the sword cheese overlapped and exploded out. Wave after wave of power exploded crazily. The 3 demon beasts were blocked by this heavy sword chi. Countless sword wounds appeared all over their bodies, and the bloody grooves on their heads quickly bottomed out. Ding, ding, ding. The system beeped crazily. He didn't have much experience, but he could use the amount to replenish it. There were indeed a lot of experience amongst the experts in the Golden Protector level, but it would be too difficult for Long Fei to kill him without using the Wild God's power or the power of the Sky Code. After all, his current level was still only escalated blood stage. Roar! Another demon beast rushed forward. There were many demon beasts around, but they did not decrease because of the killing. Beside Long Fei was a pile of corpses of demon beast. The blood was flowing all over the ground. The smell of blood was drifting far away, and even more demon beasts were lured over. However, the most important part was the blood on Long Fei's wound. His blood was the biggest shock to those demon beasts. It was all because of his blood rushing over like crazy. Long Fei did not notice. His blood vein. This was definitely not ordinary. Kill. Long Fei let out a heavy roar, and once again charged forward. Every time he killed or dodged, every time he used his sword or made a move, Long Fei felt as if he had been through 100 battles. This definitely wasn't an experience gained from the game. It must be something else. In the real world, it was not that simple. Every time he had to dodge a danger, he had to rely on his experience and the ability to react in the face of death. This was not something that could be found in a game, but he could do it easily. When he combined the images in the dream, Long Fei suspected that he had experienced something. It was just that he had forgotten it now, and it existed in his subconscious mind. Roar. A 4-rating monster, and beasts pounced forward. With a wave of its hands, it struck towards the back of Long Fei's head. The 4th stage demon beast was several times stronger than the 3rd stage demon beast. Its speed and strength were both very violent. Normal escalated blood stage warriors had no way of dodging it. However, in that instant when his life was hanging by a thread, Long Fei seemed to have predicted it. His body suddenly sank, he suddenly rolled, and jumped 3 meters away, jumping with both legs. Shwa! Its body moved like lightning. The sky sword shone with a bit of strange light. Phantom sword dance. Sword chi. Swish! Dozens of sword chis shot out. With the sky sword's buff, the sword chi was exceptionally sharp. The two streams of sword chi instantly destroyed the stage for Demon Beast. The system sounded out a prompt. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 9th level of blood refinement. Who? He had leveled up. Long Fei exhaled excitedly, his gaze sweeping across. Continue. You said that he went alone to hunt Demon Beast. And facing so many rank 3 Demon Beast, you are not the least bit inferior? They were all killed. In the distance, on a small mountain slope, several black, clothed warriors silently stood at the side. Warrior in the army. Moreover, his cultivation wasn't low. Their chests were embroidered with the word Zhou. It was a member of the Zhou family. The leader was a man who looked like a monk. The man laughed with interest, abandoning the Demon Beast in the middle of the night. Since it's not a cultivation technique, what is he trying to do? And all of the surrounding Demon Beast have been attracted by him. What method did this guy use to attract so many Demon Beast? Interesting, ha ha ha. The Confucian scholar faintly smiled and said, Don't worry about him for now. Keep your distance and closely monitor him, focusing all your attention on Yi Yurong. That kid is just a waste of escalated blood stage. Yes, sir. The 2 black warriors disappeared on the spot. The Confucian scholar looked at the forest in the distance. You ran to the Xianyu mountain range to hunt Demon Beast? Either this person has nothing to do after eating, or his brain is filled with water. What a fool. Early morning, Long Fei changed into a set of clean clothes. Yesterday, his clothes were completely stained with blood. If Yi Yurong and the others were to see it, they would definitely ask him about it, and Long Fei would be too lazy to accept it. The result from the night, 1.5 times. He still had 15% left to level up. It smells so good. The big bloke sniffed with his nose, swallowed his saliva, and said, It must be the boss's barbecue. Roast meat. Thin Monkey immediately jumped up and rushed out. Xiao Dai's face was also full of excitement. I haven't eaten for a long time. Sister Yi, hurry up. If you're late, there won't be any more. Yi Yurong disdained. Is it that delicious? She wasn't hungry. With her current cultivation level, she did not need to eat anything. After a simple comb, Yi Yurong walked out of the cave. She had slept soundly last night, and had not slept so deeply for a very long time. However, she woke up once when the sky was still dark and didn't find Long Fei outside the cave. Sister Yi, hurry up. If I'm too slow, there won't be anything left. The 2 of you eat more slowly, leave some for the sister Yi. Xiao Dai shouted. The big-sized man and Thin Monkey could be said to be wolfing down their food, like reincarnated hungry ghosts, almost swallowing their own tongue in. Long Fei tore off a piece of meat that was fragrant in all directions and walked over to eat Yurong's side. Eat some, replenish some strength. Yurong took the meat, but did not care about it. In her opinion, there was nothing in this world that could move her. With her current cultivation, she could eat anything if she wanted to, so she asked, Where did you go last night? Long Fei was startled. He thought to himself, Damn, could she be sleeping with her eyes open? I've always been right outside the cave. Yurong said, Impossible, you weren't even outside the cave this morning. Long Fei's heart relaxed and said, Didn't I say last night that I would make you breakfast? Eat quickly. It will taste worse if it gets cold. Yurong looked at Long Fei, her instincts telling her that Long Fei was lying. He took a bite of the barbecue and started chewing on it slowly. Suddenly, Yurong's eyes flashed with a sharp light at that moment. Her taste buds seemed to explode. With a fierce bite, he tore off a large piece of roasted meat. He began to chew. The oil was sizzling, and it wasn't greasy at all. The burning fragrance was everywhere, and the meat was filled with his mouth. It gave people a sense of happiness, a very fulfilling feeling. Delicious! Yorong was moved. He immediately changed into a hungry wolf without caring about his image of a lady wolfing down his food. He directly walked to the edge of the grill and glared at Thin Monkey and the Big Size Man. Thin Monkey and the Big Size Man immediately retreated. Yorong occupied the entire grill and started to eat ferociously. Ah! Long Face screamed out. It was so painful that she wanted to jump up. I was wrong, sis, I was wrong. Is that not enough? Yorong said, You know your wrongs? Long Fei quickly nodded his head, but in his heart he suddenly became ruthless. Wait, give me a little more time. This father will definitely surpass you. Let's see what you can use to crush me with. Too embarrassing. Yorong glared and said, Wrong. Hurry up and roast more meat to apologize to me. I'm not full yet. Long Fei grilled the meat bitterly again. He really regretted giving them the barbecue now. He had become their slave. Thin Monkey and the Big Size Man laughed secretly. Long Fei immediately roared, What are you laughing at? From today onwards, the two of you are not allowed to eat the slightest bit of roasted meat. With your current cultivations, eating raw meat and drinking the blood essence of Demon Beast will make your breakthrough easier. Huh. Boss, is that true? Will eating the raw meat and blood of Demon Beast break through faster? The big bloke got excited. As long as he could break through quickly, he would be able to eat anything. Yorong also asked curiously, Is the reason why you have been making such a quick breakthrough all this time because you swallowed the blood essence of the great 7-rating monster and beasts? Xiao Dai looked at Long Fei and asked curiously, Really? Yorong kept thinking about the secret behind Long Fei's breakthrough. No one could break through so quickly. She hadn't. Even the perverted genius of the Zhao family, Zhao Haotian, had never come. In just a few short days, he had yet to grasp the strength of an entire realm. How could he possibly achieve a breakthrough? It was too unbelievable. Long Fei was also startled. According to his memories, he should know nothing about cultivation. So how did he know that consuming the blood essence of a demon beast would help him break through faster? All of a sudden, Long Fei couldn't say it either, because he didn't know why he would say such a thing. Facing the curious eyes of Yorong and his wife, and also to cover up the system, Long Fei said, That's right, it's that colorful lizard blood essence that allowed me to quickly break through. Yorong slightly said, I was wondering why you suddenly became so fast. Thin Monkey and the big-sized guy immediately became excited. Seeing that there was still half of the raw meat left, they immediately went up and swallowed it. It was a stage 4 demon beast. Although he had already been dead for over an hour, his blood essence was still hiding a rich and vigorous true essence energy. The flesh, blood, and bones of demon beast contained a powerful energy. The process of their growth was much slower than humans. 4-rating monster and beasts would take tens of years to cultivate, and it was also because of this that the blood essence and energy in their bodies became thicker. I feel it. I feel it too. Boss, you're really too amazing. You even found out about this sort of training method. Ha ha ha. I feel like I can now break through the escalated blood stage. Thin Monkey was excited. Long Fei was startled. He thought to himself, Damn, I am just speaking casually. Is it that magical? But how would I know that? This is too strange. Yorong stepped forward and dripped a bit of the demon beast's blood on his finger, then placed it into his mouth and sucked it up. He slowly said, Essence blood indeed contains a rich amount of true essence. The demon beast's blood essence is not something that a human can cultivate at full time. If one is unable to endure it, there will be backlash. Long Fei coughed and said, "Did the two of you hear that? Be well controlled. Cultivate properly. There are still a few more months to the Gods Sect gathering. If you want to join the Gods Sect gathering, you have to give me a life or death cultivation. I'll reward whoever who breaks through to the Qi refining stage first." The golden holy body that Long Fei had gotten from the green-furred, gold-ranked zombie last time was still useless. Since you want to participate in the Gods Sect gathering, then you must win. The golden holy body was absolutely domineering. When the thin monkey and the big-sized man heard that, they became excited. "We can also join the Gods Sect gathering?" Long Fei said, "That depends on how good your cultivations are when it comes to it." The two of them looked as if they were on stimulants. "We will definitely do our best to cultivate." Yorong's few words caused the too thin monkey to be extremely excited as they looked at Long Fei. The leadership of this man was just too strong. It made them want to approach him. Another day passed. Yorong gently lied under a bush, pointed at a dark valley in the distance, and said in a low voice, "The destination is just ahead. However, there's a big guy guarding the valley. This demon beast is very strong. In another place. General, I found it." He already said that there was a big guy in front, yet Long Fei still charged forward. Isn't this courting death? The great 7-rating monster and beasts S were hard to deal with, even if it were the Golden Protector level's powerhouse S. Moreover, the person inside could possibly exceed level 7. Once he reached rank 8, or even rank 9, even she might not be able to deal with it. Other than that, there were many level 4, 5, and even level 6 demon beasts lurking outside the valley. These demon beast S alone were enough to fend off an army. It was no different from courting death. Before he finished speaking, Yorong's body leaped, and like a dragonfly touching the water lightly, he quickly caught up. "Boss, I'm coming." "Ha ha ha." Long Fei laughed. His aura also quickly spread out. At this moment, the entire valley shook violently. It was like a mountain was moving. It was also at this moment the demon beast that was lurking outside the valley suddenly opened their eyes. A roar. A demon beast-like creature suddenly rushed out and landed in front of Long Fei. A savage aura emanated from his entire body. Two eyes were locked onto Long Fei. Long Fei also quickly stopped, his eyebrows tightened. 5-level monster? Woo, woo, woo. Roar. His throat released waves after waves of roars. His body sank down and suddenly pounced towards Long Fei, producing waves after waves of wind sound. Extreme speed. Long Fei immediately took out his sky sword. The blade glowed with a strange light. At the 3rd level, he did not place the 4-rating monster and beasts in his eyes, but he did not dare to lower his guard. It had greatly exceeded the limits of his realm, and he could only rely on the strength of the sky sword. Shwa! The demon beast pounced over, causing Long Fei's eyebrows to tighten, his feet moving in the air. Instead of retreating, he advanced, and with a move of the strange light on the sky sword, Long Fei was completely guided by the sky sword. A sword stabbed out. A woo! Long Fei slashed across the demon beast's abdomen, and the sky sword drew a large hole on the demon beast's abdomen. Fresh blood gushed out, and his internal organs flowed all over the ground. The demon beast was crazily eating its internal organs as if it wanted to swallow them up. The sky sword's power is too sharp. Although the previous move did not have any sword moves, the sky sword had brought him to a perfect conclusion when it came to controlling it with the sword. Instantly, he found the demon beast's weakness. A sword to cut open the stomach. While he's sick, I want his life. Long Fei will not let go of any chance. Even if the demon beast is about to die, he will not let it go. He quickly rushed forward and continuously struck a few times. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 5-level monster for obtaining 50,000 experience. True Chi X6 000. Arrogant God Energy Value X2. Chapter 2333 Monster Army. Chapter 2333 Monster Army Blood. Long Fei's blood essence. A drop of his blood could make any demon beast within several kilometers excited. Now, his entire body was covered in wounds. The wounds did not stop bleeding, and large amounts of blood flowed out from them. What did this mean? This meant that all the demon beasts within 10 or even hundreds of kilometers would be excited and rush here crazily. He did not know why his blood could have such a function, and he did not have the time to think about what exactly was in his blood. His head was trembling nonstop, and his entire body was shaking uncontrollably. Intense pain. The bones were broken. Looking at his own health point, Long Fei cursed in his heart. Fuck! He only had 30 health point left. If that guy's strength had increased even further, then he would already be a dead man. However, with the system, as long as there was a little bit of health point, Long Fei did not need to worry. He took out a handful of the life bestowal pellets that he had refined and put them into his mouth. Kacha, kacha, kacha. Gudong. Dozens of pills being consumed at the same time was something that Long Fei would never do if someone else was taking them all at once. The pill's spirit energy was too great. He would not be able to endure if he took too many of them all at once. Moreover, who would have thought that he was so rich? It was as if he didn't need any money to eat the pill as food. Health point plus 100, health point plus 100, health point plus 100. After half a minute, half of his health point had recovered, and the pain on Long Fei's body had lessened by quite a bit. If I don't kill you, I am not called Long Fei. Bam! Halfway out, Long Fei quickly dashed forward. At this time, all of the demon beasts outside the valley were awakened by Long Fei's fresh blood. Their dark green eyes turned blood red. And not only that, all of the demon beasts within 10 kilometers of Long Fei rushed over. Outside the valley, the sounds of demon beasts' footsteps kept ringing. Rumble! Rumble! For a time, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. Their surroundings turned into a battlefield of demon beasts. Yurong kept releasing her divine sense. Hearing that many demon beastess were around, her expression secretly changed, and her heart relaxed a little when she saw Long Fei rushing over full of energy. Without waiting for Long Fei to rush towards the demon beast, she immediately blocked him and said, "We cannot stay here any longer. Let's go." What the heck? Ambushing Lousy. If we don't kill him, Lousy won't be happy. He was almost killed. How could Long Fei feel good about it? Moreover, the guy in front of him was at least level 6 demon beast. 5-level monster had 50,000 experience points. Then wouldn't that mean that they had more than 100,000 experience points at level 6? It might even drop something. How could he leave? Long Fei would never leave. However, without waiting for him to rush up, Yorong's figure moved, grabbing onto Long Fei's abdomen. He leaped up and flew 10 meters away. Yorong said, "All of the surrounding demon beasts have awoken. If we continue to fight, we will all die here. Even if you aren't thinking for yourself, you should at least think for Xiao Dai. And the others, right?" Long Fei's heart trembled. Yurong consecutively leaped. In a few breaths, he had already traveled several hundred meters away, but it was just that she was getting closer and closer to his forehead. Logically speaking, he should be able to jump out of the sensed range of those demon beasts. But those demon beasts did not seem to be disoriented at all. They were all not far behind him. Yorong didn't know. However, Long Fei knew clearly in his heart that it was because of his blood essence. Immediately, Long Fei said, "Let's go our way, you go to Sister Xiao Dai's side. I'll go this way." Yorong was a little worried. Long Fei replied, "Don't worry, I won't take Sister Xiao Dai's life as a joke. I won't take brother's life as a joke." Yorong looked at Long Fei, but at this moment she wanted to ask, "Then what about me?" He just didn't ask. However, Long Fei looked at her and gently smiled, then said, "Even more so, you won't take my woman's life as a joke." Finished. Long Fei was afraid that Yorong would pinch his arm again. Hence he quickly leaped and sprinted forward. Yorong controlled himself, but he still could not help but reveal a sweet smile, turned around, and quickly charged out. Long Fei roared out, "Grandsons, all of you are here to chase Grandpa." He squeezed out a wound, and blood gushed out once more. Immediately, the demon beast's eyes lit up with a red light. Each of them were like monsters in a state of blood anger, rushing straight at Long Fei like crazy, as though they did not care about their lives. Long Fei's heart tensed up. What exactly is my blood hiding? I have to appraise it when I get the chance. He didn't understand. Why did his blood make the demon beast so excited? It was like eating Viagra. It doesn't make sense. Boom, boom, boom. A large group of demon beasts rushed towards Long Fei. The demon beast that were chasing after Yorong could be said to only have a few third-stage demon beasts, while hundreds of high-stage demon beasts were chasing after Long Fei. Yorong also frowned. Crap! At this time, Xiao Dai and the others also ran over and asked, "Sister Yi, what happened? Where's Along? Why didn't he come back with you?" Yorong clenched his fists tightly and said, "Don't leave." Shua. Yorong jumped into the forest once again and said anxiously, "Don't let anything happen to you. Don't let anything happen to you." She didn't know why all the demon beasts had chased after Long Fei, but she was secretly moved in her heart because she felt that Long Fei was protecting her. Women, especially a strong woman like Yorong, she was especially touched, but she wouldn't show it. Hearing the demon beast roaring not far away, Yorong started to worry even more. However, she didn't expect that. Long Fei ran for a few kilometers and arrived at an empty area. He stopped running and looked at the demon beast that were rushing over after taking the aphrodisiac. Long Fei became excited and said, "These demon beasts can at least let me level up 2 levels. F*CK. He's a madman. The reason why they separated was not to protect Yorong. It was because he wanted to level up. Where can we find these high-level demon beasts?" Long Fei really wanted to level up and break through too much. Now that he had lured these demon beasts to the side, he no longer had to worry about the safety of Yorong and the others. Long Fei held onto the sky sword tightly and said, "Brother, I'll have to rely on you." Let alone 5-level monster, even 4-rating monster, and beasts would find it hard to deal with escalated blood stage S. With the sky sword here, Long Fei was not afraid. This rusted sword could create miracles. Boom, boom. One by one, the demon beast descended and surrounded Long Fei. They all had ferocious expressions, as if they wanted to swallow Long Fei whole. In that instant, roar! A demon beast let out a roar and pounced forward first. In that instant, Long Fei's gaze tensed up, the sky sword moved, and quickly charged, phantom sword dance. The sword she moved. The sky sword shone with a strange light. 1 sword and 1 slay. It directly killed the demon beast. However, in this instant, the demon beast on Long Fei's left and right rushed forward and fiercely crashed into Long Fei's body. Blood spurted out. the third strongest sword in the universal large world, his strength. It was hard to imagine. When the last afterimage returned to Long Fei's body, Long Fei's forehead twitched. Walala, walala, walala. In an instant, the entire arena was drenched in blood, and those demon beasts, as all fell onto the ground in a flash, several fatal sword wounds appearing on their bodies. Hundreds of demon beasts fell to the ground in an instant. The 4 rating monster and beasts was also good. Level 5 was good too. Even the level 6 demon beast was instantly destroyed. The scene was like a bloody hell. It was a complete mess. At the same time, Long Fei was also feeling extremely good, because at this moment, it was as if his eardrums were about to explode, and the system beeps were crazily blowing up. Ding! Ding! Ding, ding, ding! His experience points was going wild. The value of the true chi was also quickly increasing. His arrogant god energy value also reached its maximum capacity of 100 points at this moment. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level, Chi Refining level 1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Chi Refining level 2. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. The reward item, Absorbing Skill plus 10. Do you wish to cultivate it? As soon as he finished, Long Fei was stunned. He did not know how to react. What is it? Absorbing Skill. The ultimate move of tribulation. Holy SH asterisk T. System, you are awesome F asterisk CK. Long Fei was so excited that he was at a loss for words. This was a hero skill in a game. It was a high-leveled skill. He released a powerful skill that locked onto a person, causing an extremely strong amount of damage. Moreover, as long as he killed someone with a powerful technique, he would be able to increase his attack power. This was the most perverted part of a high-leveled skill. Once used well, the attack would frantically overlay each other, becoming more and more ferocious. Absorbing Skill plus 10? What is plus 10? Long Fei was suspicious. He could not wait any longer and immediately replied, Cultivate! Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training. Absorbing Skill plus 10. Skill Path. Absorbing Skill plus 10 rank. Heaven Stage level 9 consumption. 10,000 true chi s cooldown. 12 hours. Description. Upon using this skill, you will receive 10 damage. Description 2. Every strike and kill can swallow up 10% of one's cultivation, and the cultivation will be converted into experience. Ha ha ha. It's going to be released this time. He's definitely going to be sent out. Furthermore, he was even able to transform the opponent's cultivation into experience when he kills them. Chapter 23:35. Who's the trash now? Chapter 23:35. Who's the trash now? With no time to think, Long Fei jumped into the forest like a vigorous and angry leopard. He quickly rushed out. Yurong was a little taken aback. Her face flushed red where she was, and her heartbeat sped up. It was something she had agreed to just now, but when she thought about what she had just said, she couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Yurong, oh, Yurong, are you in heat? He really wanted to become stronger and cultivate Long Fei's sword moves. Or she was in love. However, Long Fei always had a very special aura that attracted her. That feeling of mysteriousness, that feeling of unfathomable power, and that feeling of security that was at all times filled to the brim was able to captivate any woman. Seeing Long Fei rushing into the forest, Yurong also quickly reacted. He spread out his spiritual sense, and his heart faintly trembled. It's not a demon beast. Someone is following us. Yurong's expression changed as he increased his speed. Shout louder. Maybe they didn't hear you. a black warrior with a blade on his neck. Xiao Dai never let out a single scream from the beginning because she didn't want Long Fei to worry about her. Thin Monkey and the big size guy's faces and nose were bruised and swollen. Xiao, Black Warrior roared. Thin Monkey said solemnly, "When Boss comes back, he will definitely take your life." Black Warrior laughed coldly. "Oh, is that so? A waste of escalated blood stage could actually take a person's life. I'm really looking forward to it." Xiao Dai asked, "Who are you?" The Black Warrior said, "Who we are is not important. What's important is why did you drag it out and not enter the valley? What are you doing?" Xiao Dai said, "How do you know we are going to enter the valley? Who exactly are you?" Black Warrior said, "Don't ask so much. Hurry up and call Yirong back. Otherwise." While speaking, the man's face revealed an evil lewd smile and sized Xiao Dai's body up, the lewd smile growing even wider. The big guy shouted, "If you dare touch Big Sis, I'll fight you to the death. Fight your mother." Bam! The punch landed, and the big guy was knocked onto the ground. He didn't wait for him to get up. He just stepped on him and pushed him into the mud. "A piece of trash like you wants to fight me? You overestimate yourself." One of the Black Warrior stepped on the big guy tightly. His face had a disdainful sneer on it. In their eyes, the big guy, Thin Monkey, was just a piece of trash. Big Buster and the others were too low-leveled. There was no room for resistance at all. In here, the cultivation of these Black Warrior-s and their killing intent and decisiveness were all overwhelming them. "Let go! Let him go!" the Thin Monkey roared. However, in the next second, like the big-sized man, he was also stepped on by another Black Warrior. "Big brother, it would be better to kill these two pieces of trash. They are of no use at all." "Exactly. Trash like this is a waste of the resources in this world. If it were me, I would have committed suicide long ago. With this body, with such low-level talent and potential, what am I going to cultivate? Trash." The two black-clothed men said that the Thin Monkey and the big-sized man were worthless. Hearing Zhang Xian's words, the duo clenched their fists tightly and gritted their teeth, so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. Indeed, with their inherent skills, their potential were all very ordinary. If not for Long Fei, they wouldn't have been able to enter the Xianyu sect. However, they want to be strong. He wanted to be as strong as Long Fei so that he could follow beside Long Fei at all times. But no matter how hard they trained, their rate of improvement was too slow. They were completely unable to keep up with the rhythm of others. This was the effect of innate talent. He hated himself for not being strong enough. Their hearts were bitter and bitter. This kind of pain was much more painful than the physical pain they were currently experiencing. "Trash. You say that my brother is trash. Then what the F***K are you?" In that instant, he shouted out loudly. Several Black Warrior-s slightly shivered. "The sky!" A warrior looked at the sky and shouted. A person in mid-air dove down with his sword. The warrior beside the big-sized guy snorted disdainfully. "Your brother is trash, and so is you." While they were talking, his body slightly moved, the blade in his hand moved, and an intense true chi appeared on the blade. The true chi ignited. His eyes lowered as they locked onto Long Fei, who was in midair, and he slashed down. Die! The blade chi moved. It came at him head-on. It did not have any fancy tricks and was neat and tidy. It was just an incredibly thick blade, chi slashing down. Let alone an escalated blood stage warrior. Even a chi refining stage cultivator would cut such a blade into two halves. It was too sharp. It was filled with the decisiveness of a battle on the battlefield. If one could kill him with one slash, He would definitely not use the second move. The blade chi was very fierce. Long Fei did not try to dodge it. The sword chi raged. Streams of sword chi, visible to the naked eye, shot down. He just didn't submit. It was tough. Do I have to be afraid of you? The blade chi and the sword chi interweaved, and waves of explosions sounded out in the air. The black warrior's gaze tensed up. Useless thing, can you still block this move of mine? Then I'll let you. He didn't wait for him to finish. Long Fei's figure suddenly changed. It disappeared. It suddenly disappeared like a god. In a flash. Shwa. Long Fei descended, landing behind the black warrior. A thin scar appeared on the black warrior's forehead, which continued to extend outwards. Long Fei said sinisterly, "You call that trash?" Table of contents. Table of contents. In less than a minute, he had killed 2 people in succession. Moreover, it was all a head-on clash of strength, moves, and the murderous aura he was exuding. Complete victory. The remaining 3 black warriors all had gloomy expressions. Is he really a escalated blood stage? That's not right. The aura on his body is no longer escalated blood stage. He has reached the chi refining stage. Yesterday, they were still escalated blood stage, and today they broke through. The 3 black warriors communicated with each other. One of them shouted, "So what if you are in the chi refining stage?" Kill OL 3. OL 4, we must avenge ourselves. The leader of the men in black immediately said, "Don't be rash." He immediately said, "Kid, if you dare to move again, she will die immediately." With a movement of his 2 fingers, he directly grabbed onto Xiao Dai's neck. The joints of Xiao Dai's throat made a few gurgling sounds, his breathing hastened, and his complexion couldn't help but become pale. Xiao Dai said with great difficulty, "Along, don't worry about me." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he clenched his fists and said, "You better let him go, otherwise you will die a miserable death. Humph, if you dare to even move, I'll break the inside of her head. Come on, let's see who's faster." Black Warrior was absolutely confident that he would succeed compared to Long Fei. Moreover, he also had absolute confidence that Long Fei wouldn't dare to make a move. Long Fei's eyes darkened. He did not move. Black Warrior laughed coldly and said, "Very arrogant? He killed 2 of my brothers in a row." Long Fei continued to stay silent. Black Warrior was a little proud and said, "You can't be arrogant, right? Kneel down now." Long Fei was waiting. Black Warrior shouted, "I told you to kneel down. And listen, if you don't kneel down now, you'll kill him immediately." As soon as he finished, he still held Xiao Dai up in the air. Xiao Dai was no longer able to breathe. "Kneel," Black Warrior shouted. Long Fei bowed slightly. The 3 black warriors thought that Long Fei was going to kneel down and give in, and the 2 immediately walked forward. As long as Long Fei kneeled down, they would immediately attack him ruthlessly. The 5 of them were all together in a life-and-death situation. Although they all had different surnames, they were all as close to each other as brothers. He had to take revenge. However, they did not expect that the moment Long Fei's body slightly bowed, Long Fei fiercely roared, "Kneel before your 18 generations of clan leaders." Ding! True chi value plus 100 points. Enough! Long Fei had been waiting for the true chi to recover its value. He needed 10,000 true chi points. In an instant, the true chi's value had risen to 10,000 points. At the same time, Long Fei moved his idea, absorbing skill. Shwa! The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Black Warrior for obtaining 180,000 experience, 1,800 true chi points, 3 wild god points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining extra 10% of Black Warrior's cultivation. Would you like to convert it into experience points? This was the absorbing skill. Anyone who used it to kill will be able to absorb 10% of their cultivation. And if these cultivation were converted into experience, it would give Long Fei the experience needed to level up. Long Fei's heart was moved. Transform! Ding! System notification. Experience points plus 800,000 points. Oh! 1/10 of his cultivation is equivalent to 100,000 points experience. Awesome! This skill is too awesome. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 2nd grade Refining Chi Realm. With the 800,000 experience added on, Long Fei instantly broke through. Strength, defense, all these attributes had been increased by quite a bit. This feeling was simply too satisfying. However, the surrounding people were all dumbfounded. They looked dumbstruck at the 4-section body on the ground, completely stupefied, because they did not know how Black Warrior died. Even Yurong was stunned. Just now, when he witnessed Long Fei's miraculous sword technique, he had killed hundreds of demon beasts in an instant. Now, Long Fei displayed another move that he had never seen before. It was an instant kill, and was extremely sharp to the point he did not even know how the dead died. Isn't this man too fierce? Chapter 23:37. I swear with my life. Chapter 23:37. I swear with my life, he didn't even know how he died. The remaining 2 Black Warriors' eyes were in a daze. They slowly trembled. Their legs had begun to soften. In their eyes, Long Fei was not a human anymore. Gudong! Ghost, ghost, ghost. He's a ghost. The remaining 2 Black Warriors were completely insane. After 3 consecutive moves, they had killed people in an instant. Furthermore, each of their moves were sharper than the last. Especially the last move. It was extremely strange. The 2 of them seemed to have gone crazy as they escaped. However, Long Fei had said that those who touched his brother would die. Long Fei would definitely not show any mercy when killing someone. Even if he wanted to escape, he would die. He quickly made his moves. Ah! Ah! 2 miserable shrieks sounded in the forest. 2 notifications sounded. His experience points had increased yet again, but the cooldown time of the absorbing skill was quite high. Otherwise, it would be too great of a waste to use it to kill people. Long Fei returned to the scene. Xiao Dai immediately stepped forward and asked, "Along, are you all right?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "It's fine. We have been targeted." "Yurong, now you should talk about what you're looking for, right?" These people were obviously staring at them. To kill Long Fei? Impossible. It was true that some of Yi Chongfeng's forces were outside the sect, but once he died, those forces of his collapsed instantly, so it was impossible for him to come to Long Fei's side. Since they weren't here to look for him, that was another reason. Yurong, the task of her eating was not simple. Moreover, Yurong never revealed the purpose of this mission. Xiao Dai could not help but ask, "Big Sister Xiao Dai, what is your mission?" Thin Monkey and the big-sized man swallowed the cure pill medicine, and the 2 started meditating. Yurong locked the space between his brows. Long Fei said straightforwardly, "It's fine if you don't want to say it, but I won't risk going with you. If we didn't rush there in time, they would have—" Long Fei didn't care, but he could not take Xiao Dai's life as a joke. Xiao Dai looked at Long Fei. Yurong hesitated before saying, "Mingyu." "What?" Long Fei did not understand. "What is Mingyu?" "I've never heard of it." Xiao Dai was also very suspicious. Yurong explained, "Mingyu is a sacred object of the Ming clan. It can absorb the energy of all the undead, and can also absorb the energy from corpses. But It is too dangerous and evil, and it has always been placed in the Xianyu mountain range. My goal this time is to get it back. Long Fei looked at Yurong and said, "For the netherworm in the Xianyu secret territory?" He didn't need to think to know. There must have been someone who had entered the second floor, but they had failed and returned. It could also be that the evil creatures inside were too strong to deal with. This allowed Yurong to find Mingyu and use it to summon, absorb, or use it for other purposes. In short, it was all for the body of the netherworm in the tomb. Yurong did not speak, but nodded. Long Fei asked again, "Did anyone go down there?" Yurong nodded his head again and said, "Yes, just as you said, the monsters below are too strong." Long Fei said, "I've already told you, without absolute confidence, you can't go down. Why don't you listen?" The green-haired, golden-bodied zombies on the first level were almost unable to deal with them. If they did not combine with the dark unicorn, then the monsters on the second floor would be even more powerful than they were before. This was the basic rule in the game. However, some people couldn't wait. Yurong did not say anything. Although she had kept on telling Elder Ming that it was too dangerous inside, she did not stop him because Elder Ming's body was too important to the Ming clan. Once all of them were fused, he might be able to unleash the inheritance that he had obtained in the ancient world. With the return of the first-rank powerhouse of the primordial gold ranking, the Ming clan would definitely rise again. This was the goal that the Ming clan had been striving for the past 1 trillion years. The more time passed, the weaker the Ming clan became, and they couldn't wait any longer. Long Fei looked at the Black Warrior again and asked, "You know who they are?" Yurong said, "If they are not from the Zhou family, then they should be from the Zhao family." Long Fei was slightly relieved. "So you're saying you already knew that the reason the Zhou and Zhao families entered the Xianyu sect was for the flesh of the netherworm?" Yurong nodded his head. "They only know that there is a treasure hidden in the Xianyu sect. As for what it is, they have not found it yet. I was given to the Crown Prince by Yi Chongfeng. I'm engaged." The reason the Xianyu sect were conferred the title of Gua tribe was also because the Zhao family wanted to gradually invade and devour the Xianyu sect. Xiao Dai was startled by what he heard. This was like a novel. Humph! Long Fei looked at Yurong and said, "Why are you here? Your clansmen should have quite a few powerhouses. Why are you here? Clan members?" It was very obvious that Long Fei had guessed that Yurong was someone from the Ming clan. This was also very normal. Otherwise, the Xianyu's secret territory would not have appeared here. Yurong did not hide anything and said, "Because I am a gifted soul of Underworld, and only I can control Mingyu." Gifted soul of Underworld. Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. Xiao Dai cried out in alarm and said, "Sister Yi, so you really are a gifted soul of Underworld. You're just too powerful." Chapter 2338. Entering the Valley. Chapter 2338. Entering the valley. How could Long Fei let the woman he fancied die? How could he die before the quest was activated? There were still many things that he hadn't done yet, so how could he die? The most important thing was she was Long Fei's woman. Just with this, even if the King of Hell's life and death was removed from his name, Long Fei would kill his way into the underworld and kill the King of Hell. In short, with me here, I won't let you die. However, the poison in her body had already slowly corroded her bone marrow. Even if her physique was different from ordinary people, and she was a gifted soul of Underworld, she still wouldn't be able to resist the poison from the limitless burning sword. Rumors. The limitless burning sword was a treasure bestowed to the Zhao family by the Gods tribe. It was Zhen, Wu continent's #1 divine weapon. It was truly too powerful. It would not be easy for him to remove the poison from it. Yurong wiped away her tears and said, "Really? Will you really help me?" Long Fei nodded. Yurong said again, "Are you really willing to teach me that move?" Long Fei nodded again. She was facing a crying woman, and it was a very beautiful woman at that, especially her breasts. Long Fei really could not resist it. Yurong stretched out her pinky. "Pull the hook." Long Fei smiled and said, "I will definitely do as I say." Even though she said that, she still hooked her fingers around Yurong's little finger. And then, "Pull the hook. Hang him. Don't change for 100 years." Long Fei agreed. According to the normal pattern, it should be, "Who's the dog?" But what Yurong said was different. There was a flash of light. Whoever changes will become Yang. Impotence. Long Fei was stupefied on the spot. Yurong burst out laughing. "He he he he. Remember that vow you made. If you can't do it, then below you. That's for sure." Xiao Dai, Thin Monkey, and the big-sized man were also shocked. "Isn't this too treacherous?" Long Fei was instantly speechless. Yurong chuckled. "I was just lying to you. The wounds on my body have already healed. Do I still need you to save me? However, I am truly a little touched if you swear it with your life." He he. "As a man, you have to keep your word. You said it before. You would help me get Mingyu." Yurong snickered. Long Fei looked at her. 1 second he was crying. The next he was smiling sinisterly. This woman's face was 100 times faster than flipping a book. Xiao Dai said, "Sister Yi, aren't you being too treacherous? You scared me. And you even need Along's help? You don't need to do this. Along will definitely help you." Indeed, no matter what, Long Fei would help Yurong. Xiao Dai knew clearly in his heart. Similarly, Yurong was very clear about this in his heart. However, she did this to make Long Fei dislike her, and also to remind him to keep his distance. She was the Dark Phoenix. Her mission, the Ming clan would not allow her to marry anyone. Also, the wound on Yurong's abdomen had not recovered at all. It had sunk deep into her bone marrow. It was hard for her to break through cultivation. She did not know how much longer she could continue. She could only do this so that Long Fei wouldn't worry about her. Her face was full of smiles, but her heart was bitter. The first time he saw Yurong using his perspective to look through his body and saw the wound on her abdomen, he had not paid much attention to it in the past, but now that he thought about it, it was definitely not a simple injury. Long Fei said, "Let's enter the valley." Yurong immediately said, "That's right, no matter if it's the Zhou and Zhao families, we all have to move a step ahead of them before they can react." Yurong was also a little worried. Mingyu, the sacred artifact of the Ming clan. Not only that, once this thing was discovered, the Ming clan would immediately expose it. One must know that for more than 10 billion years, the powerhouse of God's tribe had been chasing after the Ming clan clansmen all the time. Once found, the consequences would be unthinkable. Yurong stood up. Long Fei looked at Xiao Dai and said, "Sis, you guys hide." Xiao Dai stared blankly. She wanted to follow him, but she was afraid of implicating Long Fei, so she said, "We will stand guard at the entrance of the valley and watch out for you guys." Thin Monkey said, "Boss, don't worry. This time we'll be a bit careful." Yurong took out 3 medicinal pellets and said, "This is a hidden pellet. If you take it, even the powerhouse S of the arrogant form state will not be able to sense the aura on your body." Long Fei reminded, "You must be careful. If you discover that something is wrong, immediately retreat. Understand?" The 3 of them nodded their heads. Long Fei and Yurong also quickly jumped out and headed towards the mountain valley. Trash. Who asked you to make the decision on your own?" The monk was very angry. He didn't give the order to touch Long Fei at all. However, a black warrior said, General, they also want Yorong and the others to quickly enter the valley. They also want to help you out. Without waiting for him to finish, the Confucian scholar fiercely said, "What do they know?" The surrounding people all went silent, not daring to make a sound. The Confucian scholar's body exuded a very threatening aura. After a long time, the scholar let out a heavy breath and said, "The 5 brothers all died in the hands of a single person?" Black Warrior replied, "Yes." The Confucian scholar slightly said, "Yorong's cultivation is truly not to be looked down upon. This girl is naturally blessed. Her blood vein talent is exceptionally strong, so it's reasonable that the 5 of them are not her match." The Black Warrior said, "General, it wasn't Yorong who attacked you. It was that youth called Long Fei. Everyone only used one move." The Confucian scholar's eyes darkened and said, "Impossible. No matter how strong the escalated blood stage is, it's impossible for it to be a match for the qi refining stage. Furthermore, these 5 people are experienced in battle. Even experts of the essence condensation realm are not a match for them. A mere escalated blood stage cannot hurt them at all." The warrior said, "There's a brother who saw it with his own eyes. That brat's every move was different, and he even had a strange movement in his shadows. There's no such thing as before. The 5 of them were split apart. The method was extremely cruel. Someone from the Xian Yu sect said that he is a person from the magic tribe. Maybe he really is someone from the magic tribe." Magic tribe? The Confucian scholar shook his head and said, "The Xian Yu sect cannot recruit people from the magic tribe. This brat is only a bit ruthless, but whoever kills my crow, even if you have 9 lives, you still have to die." His words were laced with a thick killing intent. All the Black Warrior he brought out were his personal guards, the Black Crow group. The 5 of them were killed. Anger boiled in the crow's heart, and its murderous intent stirred. At this moment, a Black Warrior hurriedly ran back and said, reporting to the general, 2 people have entered the valley. One of the warrior raised his eyes. "There are many big demon beasts in the valley. Have they thought of a way to deal with them?" "No rush," the crow replied. "We've already located the item. All we need to do now is wait. They'll definitely come out." At the mouth of the valley, Yorong lowered his voice and said, "There's a great 7-rating monster and beasts up ahead." Just as the demon beast screamed in pain, Long Fei quickly went up and stabbed it with his sword. Yorong bellowed, "Are you crazy?" Long Fei laughed and said, "Old wife, you should rest now. I'll do it." Taking advantage of his illness, Long Fei liked to do things that took his life the most. Facing the great demon beast that was screaming in pain, Long Fei attacked violently. The blood on top of his head quickly drained, and then the system's notification sound rang out. "Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Thorny Demon for obtaining 50,000 experience points, 49,000 true chi points, and 10 arrogant god energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Thorny Demon's blood. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Thorny Demon Inner Pellet. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Piercing Sword." The system beeped out a series of notifications. Long Fei was secretly pleased. This sword is an earth-ranked treasure. It's sharp, small, and light. If you give this sword to Sister Xiao Dai, she will definitely like it. Looking at Long Fei's secretly pleased expression, Yorong said, "You're not allowed to be like this in the future. It's too dangerous for you to do this. Your cultivation is still very low after all." Long Fei regained his senses and said, "Thank you for your concern, my wife. I will take care of myself. Let's continue." Without waiting for Yorong's reply, Long Fei ran out. This valley was full of great 7-rating monster and beasts. There were no demon beast below level 7. To Long Fei, This was simply a heaven for bosses. Just like when the monsters attacked, all the bosses came. This feeling was simply one word. Great. It's here, it's here. My dear wife, you're here. Rumble. Bang. With a loud noise, an incomparably large stone demon beast rushed out. It clasped its hands together and hacked towards Long Fei's head. Yi Yurong seized the opportunity and leapt into the air. The Xianyu underworld wheel erupted with a sharp power and smashed downwards. Looking at the damage numbers that floated above the stone demon beast's head, Long Fei could not help but praise, "Beautiful!" At the same time, Long Fei did not run away, but continued to ridicule. "Grandson, come and hit Grandpa. Pull aggro. Let the demon beast attack him as much as possible, and create an output environment for Yi Yurong." Attack after attack. After 10 minutes or so, the blood groove of the great 7-rating monster and beasts quickly bottomed up again. Long Fei seized the opportunity, and the sky soared fiercely, slashed at it. Boom! As its gigantic body collapsed, the system sounded out a prompt. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Rock Giant Demon for obtaining 510,000 experience points, 50,000 true chi points, and 10 arrogant god energy value. He realized that the demon beast was becoming stronger and stronger, and was still only halfway there. How strong were the demon beast inside? I don't know. However, Long Fei was very excited. Go, Yurong, kill it. Summoning Pikachu S was normal. Being angry was one thing, but Yurong immediately rushed up as the Xianyu underworld wheel interrupted the demon beast's attack. The two of them teamed up once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently, at the 3rd grade of Refining Chi, another level up. Another land level treasure appeared in the midst of the space ring. Long Fei was ecstatic. After half a day, Long Fei and Yurong finally entered the depths of the valley. To be exact, he did not see a single demon beast. Yurong also felt that it was strange. The valley was abnormally calm. The sounds of birds chirping and the fragrance of flowers wafted in the air. The little creek was crystal clear and peaceful, without any kind of danger to be discerned. Yurong said, "This place is like a paradise. It is too abnormal." Long Fei asked, "Did the elders in your clan not explain what kind of place this is?" Yurong shook his head. "No, he just explained the location." Long Fei said, "Be careful. The more dangerous a place like this is, the more hidden it is." He didn't dare to lower his guard. The outer perimeter of the valley was incomparably savage, but once one entered the depths, it was as though they had entered a completely different world. Yurong nodded his head, his consciousness continuing to spread out, carefully going forward. The two of them proceeded slowly. They continued all the way until the deepest part of the valley, where there was a huge rock cliff. Looking up, the sky above the rock looked like a sharp sword stuck in the ground, unreachable. Even flying beasts might not be able to fly up there. Cliffs on both sides. This place. There was no cave. Then where is the Ming clan holy artifact? Mingyu. Long Fei looked around and could not help but ask, "Where is the Mingyu you mentioned? There doesn't seem to be any formation seal here." Yurong was also puzzled and thought, "Could it be that I walked into the wrong place? This is the place that Elder Ming was talking about." But Mingyu was an evil, uncontrollable holy object. It could not be so peaceful where it appeared. There must be a problem. But then Yurong was unable to sense what was wrong with the place. Looking at the surroundings of the deep valley, he couldn't find any clues. Long Fei looked at the sharp walls of the cave, which was as smooth as a mirror, and muttered, "Is this cliff really so bright and clean?" Walking forward, his right hand lightly touched the floor. The moment his arm touched the cliff, a strong force directly sucked him into the cliff, and he didn't even have time to speak. He couldn't control it at all. Long Fei suddenly disappeared. Yurong rushed up anxiously, looked at the cliff, and shouted, "Long Fei, Long Fei!" Anxiety could be seen in his eyes. And at this moment, Yurong took a step forward, and his body was instantly sucked into the cliff. On the other side, the dark chaos world seemed to be quite muddle-headed and blurry. His line of sight was less than 10 meters. It was like a world of heavy smog. What is this place? Secret world. Long Fei's heart tightened. The idea moved and spread out. It could not feel any ends and could not sense any auras. Even if there was something in front of him, his level would not be able to sense it. Yurong rushed in and shouted loudly, "Long Fei!" No response. The place she and Long Fei were in was completely different. However, Yurong's consciousness slightly moved, and her face suddenly turned ashen, level 8 demon beast, moreover. His body is flashing with the Ming clan's mark. These demon beast. It's all under the control of Ming, use evil power. This is bad. Long Fei, Yurong shouted out loud. Long Fei, be careful. These are all level 8 nether beasts. Long Fei couldn't hear her at all. There was a power that completely isolated the world he was in. However, after Long Fei entered this chaotic world, he suddenly felt a stabbing pain in his left arm. It was very strange, but it had never happened before. The sting was a small place. It seemed like there was a burning sensation under his skin. Why is that? Long Fei did not think much into it and slowly walked forward until he saw a huge pillar. What is this? A stone pillar? That's not right. Why is there a thick layer of fur on this pillar? In that instant, Long Fei's eyes jolted, and he quickly retreated. What the F*** K? Super Demon Beast. Chapter 2341. Transformers has arrived. Chapter 2341. Transformers has arrived just when Long Fei had subconsciously felt that the big pillar of hair growing in front of him was the leg of a demon beast. A deep green-golden light shone down from above his head like a searchlight. Her eyes carried an extremely violent and intimidating aura as she instantly suppressed and bound Long Fei. Long Fei was also stunned on the spot. In that second, his face revealed extreme shock as he said in a low voice, "Damn, this is too big, isn't it?" Just like ants and elephants. Long Fei felt that he was just an ant. Gudong. After swallowing a bit of saliva, the sky sword emitted a strange light and extinguished the pressure. Long Fei didn't even think twice as he instantly retreated. Even if he was a madman that went crazy every time he saw a boss, the super boss in front of him was completely beyond what he could handle. Fighting against it, this was a dead end. How can there be such a huge demon beast in this world? Is the world crazy? Moreover, what does it mean to have two eyes glowing with a ghostly green light? What the hell is this place? Long Fei muttered in his heart, this fellow. If he could kill it, how much experience would he have? F***CK. Long Fei, Long Fei, at this time, can you wake up a little? This demon beast will really die. Long Fei said to himself ruthlessly in his heart. Honestly, Long Fei really wanted to do it just once. However, right now his fairy from heaven was cooling, the Sky Sword's Sky Code was cooling, and the big move absorbing skill that he had just obtained was cooling as well. The only thing he had right now was arrogant god, energy value. But what was the use? Based on his current cultivation, even if he brought out the peak of his arrogant god energy value, he still wouldn't be his match. In the game, he was only a level 1 newbie, but he had to face a level 100 boss. How could he kill it? Stop dreaming. As he sprinted, he would occasionally look back. Sigh. What a pity. What a pity. If I could have killed him, I would have been able to fly. Long Fei turned his head to see that the big fellow had not caught up to him. Furthermore, the searchlight in the air had disappeared as well. Maybe it's because I'm too small. He didn't notice me. Huff. It really is King dangerous. Long Fei exhaled a long breath, his mind still thinking about how to kill this super boss. Just when he was feeling happy. Rumble. 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 Explosions were heard from all directions. An incomparably loud sound rang out. Long Fei trembled. What is that sound? For a moment, he was unable to pinpoint the correct location. The only thing he could do was to hear explosions in the surroundings, just like the sound of space shattering. Boom. 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 Layer upon layer of ruptures. Suddenly, Long Fei raised his eyes, his pupils constricting as he cursed out loudly, F***ck. Just now, Long Fei had escaped the demon beast's enmity range because of him. After all, he had been rushing forward with all his might just now, and had even used up all his strength. Judging by the speed, it should have at least been a few kilometers in half a minute, right? However, this fellow caught up with a single kick. How big was this body? Long Fei didn't have time to think. He immediately placed the colorful lizard shield on his body to increase his HP. At the same time, the sky sword stabbed onto the ground, and with a forceful push, Long Fei quickly flew out. Rumble! The huge palm descended. The ground was covered with sand and rocks, and strong winds raged. Long Fei was barely able to dodge the kick, but he was sent tumbling to the ground by the shockwave. His entire body was covered in mud, his face was covered in dust, and he looked extremely miserable. F***ck. The rage in his heart exploded. Long Fei looked at the thick sky. Don't go too far. Without waiting for Long Fei to finish. Rumble! Another heavy stomp landed, but Long Fei was still unable to release his rage. He continuously rolled on the ground, trying his best to avoid this kick, not waiting for him to stop. Boom. Another kick. Boom. Another kick. Boom. Another kick. The earth shook, and the mountains shook. It seemed as if the ground would split open at any moment. Long Fei was completely tricked. He rolled over here, then over there. He did not even have time to stand up, his entire body rolling around on the ground. This is too much. The anger in Long Fei's heart burned hotter and hotter. However, that demon beast did not seem to have enough fun. It continued to trample down. This is bullying. Long Fei bellowed. He dodged to the side. The look in his eyes turned sinister, his eyes bloodshot, and said, God damn it, forcing me to make a move, right? Shwa. His body spun in midair. The sword pierced into his leg that was as thick as a stone pillar, but Long Fei did not stop there. Shwa. They flew up along the demon beast's thighs, climbing a few meters at a time, using the sword as a fulcrum. I'll see what you are today. Boom. Boom. Long Fei continuously climbed upwards, and after a dozen consecutive attempts, he finally reached the abdomen and was once again astonished. This guy is too big. The shock in his heart became more and more intense. He thought that Transformers was big enough, but he didn't think that this guy would remind him even more. Just as Long Fei was feeling astonished in his heart, a burst of strong wind came from his back. Long Fei suddenly looked back, and his eyes darkened. This is it! A thick whip swept over with incomparable speed, sealing off all his paths. Long Fei stood at his original position, feeling that he could do nothing. Even if he had to use all of his skills, he would not be able to do anything. I can't believe I'm going to die in a place like this. Long Fei was unwilling to give up. Both fists tightly gripped the sky sword. No matter what, Even if he knew that he would die, Long Fei would not easily give up. Bring it on. Long Fei clenched his teeth and said fiercely, Walala, Walala. The strong wind was ear-piercing, and strong gales were blowing. When it hit Long Fei's face, it felt like it was being cut by a knife. With his life hanging by a thread, Long Fei's heart was incomparably calm. His fighting spirit also soared, and the aura he unconsciously emitted seemed to ignite into flames. Long Fei prepared everything. But even so, it was impossible for him to block this attack. In this split second, rumble! Another loud explosion rang out as a beast emerged from the thick armor on its body. Its body was as big as a small mountain. He immediately grabbed the demon beast's tail and let out a roar. Roar! The sound waves were like waves. It was deafening. The demon beast's tail was tightly held back, and it let out a blood-curdling screech. Awesome, my brother! Long Fei looked at the demon beast that was covered in armor. He was excited. Transformers! Chapter 2342, King Kong Powerful Fist. Chapter 2342, King Kong Powerful Fist. Suddenly, he charged out, without any warning. Furthermore, he wanted to become stronger than the Transformers before him a month ago. The force that exploded out was suddenly compared to what it was before, not to mention Long Fei. Even a powerhouse at the peak of the elixir would be turned into meat paste in an instant by the power of that tail. This power, too abnormal. Long Fei's eyes flashed, and he shouted excitedly, Transformers! A gorilla! To be exact, it was a perverted gorilla that had grown armor all over his body, just because of a sudden change in the elixir that Long Fei gave him last time. Transformers looked at Long Fei and laughed excitedly. Boss, did you come to see me? Looking at you? Long Fei was stunned for a moment, looking back at the Primal Chaos secret world. He couldn't help but think of what the Transformers had said the last time. Transformers said, "This is the place. I never thought that there would be so many mutated demon beasts inside." Because Long Fei had entered the Transformers' sea of consciousness before. He had once used the parasitic possession to control the Transformers, so communicating with him now was simple. Long Fei was shocked. Mutated demon beast. F***CK. That's not the point. The point is, you're talking about fairyland. How does this look like fairyland? This place is obviously hell. Long Fei said, angrily. It was a fluke to get in here. If they came to the fairyland Transformers had mentioned, they would have already been in deep water. However, that said, the paradise beyond the smooth cliffs was indeed like a fairyland. Anyone who saw this place would think that it was a fairyland secret world if they knew of this secret world. However, everything was an illusion. Transformers muttered, "Me doesn't know, I also didn't expect it to be like this inside." Long Fei replied, "Let's not talk about that for now. Can you kill this guy?" Nothing else was important. The important thing is to kill this super monster. First, go berserk. The Transformers said, "Let me try." The guys here are all very fierce, and they are all controlled by some kind of power, making them very difficult to deal with. Don't say so much. If you can make a move, then don't say it. Long Fei shouted. Transformers also followed suit. At this time, he was still tightly grabbing onto the demon beast's tail, using his strength in both of his hands. The armor on his body burst forth with bursts of light rays. Roar. The super monster let out a miserable cry. The gigantic head suddenly turned, opening its mouth wide like a bloody bowl, and bit towards Transformers. Transformers immediately turned around and placed the demon beast's tail on his shoulder, pressing down fiercely. Awoo! Before he could even bite, the super monster's tail was about to break. Moreover, The gigantic body of the super great demon beast was forcibly flipped over by Transformers. This scene, Long Fei muttered, a fight between deities. The scene was too shocking. The monster movies he watched in his previous life could not be compared at all. Rumble! Super Monster held up for a while. Then his body heavily smashed into the ground, causing another series of painful screams. Roar! Transformers pounded his chest with both hands and released a series of roars. It sounded like he was provoking them, but it was also like he was leaking out his own strength. In this instant, shwa, shwa, shwa. In the air, many black and thick arms shot towards the Transformers from all directions. Not long later, the Transformers' body was tied up by dozens of black ropes. All forelimbs and abdomen, and the mucus drips down. Transformers' entire body strength was restricted, and he continuously struggled, unable to use it. A strong sound of movement came from the ground in the distance. The entire ground was trembling. An enormous aura approached from the depths of the darkness. Long Fei looked at the black ropes, and his heart tightened. Another super monster? It was also at this time, seeing the Transformers being bound, the demon beast that was initially lying on the ground crawled back up, swung its heavy tail in the air, and forcefully smashed it down towards the top of Transformers' head. It was like a heavenly hammer. Rumble! Oh! Bang! He heavily smashed onto the Transformers' head, causing his body to sink down. He knelt on the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. At the same time, Transformers was also furious. The power on his body burst out crazily, and the black ropes were also crazily curling up, tightly binding Transformers. Rumble! Another tail came crashing down. Transformers spat out another mouthful of blood. No way! This can't go on. Long Fei was anxious. The Transformers was indeed very strong, but he was a demon beast after all, and he had his own thoughts and instincts. If it was Long Fei who smashed the super monster to the ground, he would have taken advantage of his illness and quickly taken care of it. However, Transformers did not. This was the nature of Demon Beast. Now that he was bound, another super monster must be approaching from the darkness. If he did not remove the restraints on Transformers' body, he would definitely die. And it was the same for Long Fei. Immediately, Long Fei made a decision. The idea moved and said secretly, "Sky Sword, buzz." Long Fei called out. The Sky Sword immediately released a sword hum, which started to shine brightly. Long Fei leaped up heavily, jumping onto the Transformers' finger, and shouted, "Send me up!" He couldn't move his limbs. However, Transformers' finger could still move, and one finger was even bigger than Long Fei himself. With a flick of his finger, Long Fei leaped into the air. In that instant, the sound of wind breaking resounded through the air. A black rope wrapped around Long Fei. Like an arrow, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he said, "Kill." The sword came chopping down. Swish, 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 swish. As it fell from the sky, the Sky Sword's sword that was originally only a few gene in weight suddenly turned tens of thousands of gene in weight as it slashed down vertically. The black mucus ropes that were binding the Transformers broke apart one by one, just like cutting radishes, as they were unable to withstand the sword tip of the Sky Sword. One by one, the ropes broke apart, and the dark void let out a series of screams. After half of his body recovered its freedom, Transformers' strength exploded out in tons and tons, directly pulling on the black rope on his left hand. Roar! It let out a roar. He threw it out. In the distance, an enormous figure was swept out. He heavily swung out, smashing onto another super monster's body. 2 days later, the demon beast collided with each other and quickly rolled out. "While he's sick, I want his life." Long Fei was afraid that the Transformers would miss another opportunity. Hence he shouted loudly. The Transformers reacted, his four limbs supporting the ground, suddenly shot out, landing heavily on his fist. The steel armor on his fist moved, and the fist was wrapped up by the steel armor. King Kong Powerful Fist. Rumble. Chapter 2343, Force of Variation, Appearance of the Demonic Eye. Chapter 2343, Force of Variation, Appearance of the Demonic Eye. A dull sound was heard. In the air, his fists were slightly pressed back. The power was like a crazy engine, spinning crazily. Immediately, an intense light of strength flashed on his fists. It was extremely ear-piercing. It struck down at the supermonster, whose entire body was covered in mucus and extremely ugly. Rumble! An intense explosion. A strong light shot out in all directions. Long Fei was stunned. What the F***CK is this King Kong Powerful Fist? This is definitely a turtle sex chi art. No, this is the bombardment of cannons. Awesome! Just like that, the body of Supermonster, who was covered in tentacles, exploded into pieces. It couldn't be stopped at all. With a swoosh, the long gash on the top of his head was also pushed to the bottom. A bright red damage figure floated above his head. 3500 000. Holy SH *T. 3 million plus damage. Long Fei's eyes flashed red light. He started to get excited. Good job. Good job. Very good job. Ha! It was also at this time. Long Fei's heart tightened. It's exploding. It's exploding. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting 80,000 experience points for defeating Variant Touch God, 80,000 True Chi, and 20 Arrogant God energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Spirit Void Whip. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Spirit Touch Blood. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Force of Variation +1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 4th grade of Refining Chi. He leveled up once again. Moreover, his experience points had once again reached 60%. A demon beast leveling up just like that. This speed. It felt so good that he just didn't want it. And then, Long Fei did not immediately check the items that dropped, because there was one more important thing he needed to do, and that was to find another super monster. Transformers! Long Fei shouted. At the same time, Long Fei rushed forward quickly, as if it understood Long Fei's words. Transformers grabbed the gigantic demon beast on the ground and opened its big mouth. Long Fei used his full strength. The sword pierced Supermonster's tongue. A pitiful damage appeared above his head. However, it was enough to create damage, because Long Fei only needed to create a bit of damage. Once the demon beast dies, the system would silently agree that he killed it. Long Fei retreated and said, "You can kill him now." Immediately, Transformers used more strength in both his arms, and the power in his body exploded out again, directly breaking the upper and lower jaw of Supermonster. The demon beast struggled for a while before it stopped. The groove above his head was empty. The system sounded out once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Supermonster for obtaining 680,000 experience, 50,000 True Chi points, and 10 Arrogant God energy value. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Demon Beast Blood Essence. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Force of Variation +1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 5th grade Refining Chi Realm. The level up notification rang again. Long Fei's entire body felt an indescribable comfort, but in addition, Long Fei could clearly feel the change in his power after he leveled up. which made him feel a bit more vigorous. The feeling of leveling up feels great. Right. Long Fei immediately checked the item that dropped. Soul Void Whip. Heavenly Soul Treasure. That's right. Long Fei didn't care. He had always wanted to see the Force of Variation, but they had never dropped such a thing. Item. Force of Variation attributes. Mutated description. The more Force of Variation a player fused with, the stronger the mutated item will be. Description 2. The mutated beasts could be beasts, alien, or robots. The level of mutation that accompanied the number of fuses a player had. Special prompt. Force of Variation can only be used once. Force of Variation. According to the information given by the system, as long as I fuse with the Force of Variation, I will produce a mutation. Long Fei muttered in his heart, mutated? Damn! It can even transform into a robot. This is indeed a little too abnormal. Force of Variation. Long Fei muttered in his heart, I really want to see it in the system merchant shop. And then Long Fei opened the system merchant shop, and indeed discovered the Force of Variation. However, to purchase a bit of Force of Variation, S required 100,000 points. F*CK. Long Fei contemptuously said, 1 bit of Force of Variation requires exchange value to buy, but this daddy can only exchange for 10,000 exchange value. System, you are really too darned, aren't you? 100,000 points. This was not a small number. However, the more valuable the item was, the more it proved its worth. Beast form? Alien? Robot form? Long Fei secretly thought in his heart, this is going to be interesting. Hee hee. Hoo 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 hoo. Hoo 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 hoo. Transformers panted heavily. He had used up a lot of energy just now, especially his King Kong powerful fist. Transformers looked at Long Fei. If Long Fei had not cut through the rope binding his body, he probably would have died here. He felt gratitude towards Long Fei from the bottom of his heart. Long Fei recovered from his shock, looked at the Transformers, and asked, how many of these demon beasts still exist here? Transformers shook his head and said, I don't know, but these two fellows should be the lowest level of demon beast in this secret world. Long Fei was slightly shocked. Is this kind of super monster still the lowest level of existence? How strong are the demon beasts still? Transformers said, I'm not sure, but all the demon beasts in there are controlled by an eye. That eye is too strong. Boss, that eye could be a treasure. There was a trace of fear in Transformers' eyes. Long Fei's eyes became tight. Eyes? What kind of eyes? Transformers replied, half-moon-shaped eyes. Mingyu? Long Fei immediately thought of what Yurong had said, and in his heart, he naturally thought of something from the movies from his previous life. The demonic eye in the ring. If so, the super monster S just now were created by the demonic eye. Holy **T. Then this thing is amazing. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart and asked at the same time, where can I see it? Transformers said, you can see it from my shoulder, but, boss, you must not look into his eyes, or else you will be controlled. That evil power is too strong. I almost couldn't endure it. Long Fei said, send me up. Long Fei jumped onto Transformers' shoulder. Transformers stood up. Long Fei's gaze swept across and looked into the distance. Indeed, the evil strength stripes, half-moon eyes continuously flashed, shaking the cold light. Moreover, the moment Long Fei saw Mingyu's evil eye, it shook and stared straight at Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei's brain felt like it was about to split open, and the piercing pain on his left arm became even more intense, as if something was about to burst out. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2344. Underworld Dragon. This scoundrel Chapter 2344. Underworld Dragon. This scoundrel, Long Fei could not bear it and screamed in pain. His entire person fell off Transformers' shoulder, and Transformers supported Long Fei up. Hiss! Long Fei sucked in a cold breath of air. His brain felt as if it had been penetrated by a stream of energy. An indescribable pain assaulted his brain, and his giant eye that was flickering with the evil light of the netherworld revealed a sinister look. Mingyu? Or was it the demonic eye? Long Fei might not be able to say for sure, but he had never felt such an evil power before. In addition, on the back of the huge beholder was a stone door. On the stone door was carved the runes of the Ming clan. The beholder seemed to be the guardian of the stone door. Could it be? Was there an even more powerful creature behind the stone door? Long Fei simply did not have time to think about it. His body spasmed, and his head buzzed until it exploded. Furthermore, the burning sensation on his left arm was even more intense. Hiss, hiss. Long Fei took a deep breath and held onto his left arm with his right hand. What the hell is going on inside my body? Transformers asked. Boss, how are you? Did you make eye contact with him? It's too dangerous, boss. The Transformers anxiously said. Seeing Long Fei's painful expression, he was even more afraid of the evil eye. In his heart, Long Fei was extremely powerful. If even he was unable to look directly at the beholder, then the beholder was truly too strong. Long Fei shook his head. I'm fine. Half an hour later, the buzzing in his head slowly disappeared, and the power of the demonic eye also dissipated. The stinging pain on his left arm also lessened. Long Fei had finally recovered. Raising his sleeve, he looked at himself, somewhat scarlet, like a piece of iron that had just been lit on fire. What's going on with my arm? Long Fei couldn't understand. He actually felt pain in his arm under the Xian Yu Secret Territory's main hall. However, it was very light and didn't have much of an effect. But this time, it was as if there was something under his arm. It kept tearing, as if it was about to rush out and burn red-hot iron under his skin. It was very hard. Long Fei didn't know what was going on. However, Long Fei felt that there was something under his left arm, and it was definitely related to that evil eye. He tightened his eyebrows, suddenly stood up, and said, Transformers, let's go. Transformers was startled. Boss, did I hear wrongly? TH, that evil, I can't even block it at all. If we get too close, we'll immediately be controlled. Transformers said worriedly. He was very afraid. Long Fei was afraid. He really didn't know how to defend against that kind of terrifying power, but he wanted to figure it out. From the moment he woke up, he had a feeling that his memories were broken. What were those lost memories? Why did he have all those strange dreams? Why would the men of Dragon Abyss Dungeon call him son? He didn't know. He really wanted to know. His left arm definitely wouldn't feel pain for no reason. There must be another reason. It might have something to do with the memory that he had lost. Long Fei had to find out. Long Fei said, You will be in charge of sending me over. I will handle the rest myself. Seeing how determined Long Fei was, Transformers nodded heavily and said, Okay, boss will accompany you. And then Long Fei jumped onto Transformers' back and quickly headed deeper into the darkness. In another place, Yurong was also near a few superbosses. Strangely, those superbosses did not seem to see Yurong. At first she thought it was strange, but then she realized it was an aura. The aura of these supermonster-S is the aura of their Ming clan-S. If their auras were the same, they wouldn't be able to sense it. Yurong was a gifted soul of underworld, and the aura on her body had completely merged with the netherworld Adumbra flower. These demon beasts were simply unable to sense her existence. After Yurong understood all of this, he quickly headed deeper into the mountains, his heart worrying about Long Fei. However, as long as he could clear Mingyu's line, this secret world would no longer have the strength to support him and would be restored to its original state. Long Fei, you have to hold on, Yurong thought in her heart as she looked at the dense evil qi in the distance. She secretly tensed up. Mingyu, the sacred artifact of the Ming clan. Similarly, it was also one of the most evil things in the Ming clan. It used to be the eye on Pluto's forehead, possessing the power to absorb all evils. He was known as the Beholder King. It was born from ancient times. It was Pluto who brought it out of ancient world. With the fall of Pluto, the Beholder King flew away from Pluto to become Mingyu. From that moment on, no one in Ming clan could truly control it. Even the #1 war god of Ming clan, Ming Long, couldn't do it. Ming clan was defeated in a battle between two great gods' tribe. Some of them withdrew from the universal large world, while some others hid themselves. Mingyu was brought to the Zhenwu continent by the branch of the Ming clan, and like the others, he could not control himself and kept him there, waiting for the person who could subdue him to appear. Gifted soul of underworld. After countless years, the strongest gifted vein in the branch of Zhenwu continent, Yurong carried the last hope of the Ming clan. Those elders of the Ming clan did not know whether or not she was able to truly control Mingyu, and only knew that she was the only one who was able to approach Mingyu. Closer and closer, Yurong felt an even stronger evil aura. A few minutes later, she came to an altar. On the altar, there were two huge pillars. On the pillars, there were all kinds of strange and hideous stone carvings of nether beasts. Between the two pillars, there was a floating crescent moon. Mingyu. Yurong looked at Mingyu, who was on the altar, and felt the surrounding strength. Unparalleled power. Yurong's eyes were filled with reverence as he knelt down. Disciple Yurong, the reincarnated Dark Phoenix, greets Master Mingyu. Buzz. Mingyu glared at him, and countless evil rays of light enveloped Yurong. As a deep voice filled with evil sounded out, the reincarnation of the Dark Phoenix. So many years have passed since I was locked in here, and this is the only netherworld phoenix blood vein that came out of Ming clan. Seems like the Ming clan is done for. Mingyu's words were filled with contempt. Gifted soul of underworld may be an extremely strong existence to ordinary people, but to Mingyu, it was not worth mentioning. It was an extremely trashy existence. Thus, he was somewhat disappointed. Yurong also felt Mingyu's disappointment, and immediately said, Master Mingyu, this disciple has disappointed you, but I need your help. Mingyu said indifferently, Help what? Yurong said, We have discovered the tomb of the Lord Minglong, as long as we can find the Lord Minglong. Without waiting for Yurong to finish speaking, Mingyu's crescent-shaped evil eyes suddenly glared, as if he was about to break free from the seal's power on the pillar. The endless evil energy of the netherworld, a Dumbra flower, began to burst forth crazily, its strength turning into a berserk state as it rushed towards Yurong. This dog thief. Chapter 2345. Mysteries of the Ming Clan. Chapter 2345. Mysteries of the Ming Clan. He suddenly flew into a rage. Uncontrollable. Furthermore, this anger was like a volcano erupting. It was extremely furious. The entire secret world began to stir up chaos. At the same time, Transformers and Long Fei were almost blown away by a strong gale of evil energy. Yurong was also unable to endure it any longer, so she released her strongest power. A dark phoenix image appeared on her body, protecting her entire body. Gifted soul of underworld. It's nothing. Mingyu was furious. The power of the netherworld, a Dumbra flower, was like a bolt of lightning. immediately crushing the Netherworld Phoenix Phantom on Eorong's body. Eorong was also sent flying and smashed heavily onto the ground. Puffed. Eorong spat out a mouthful of blood. Had he said the wrong thing? Why was Mingyu so angry? The body of the Lord Ming Long contained a powerful inheritance power. As long as it was fused together, it would be able to obtain the power of the once number one person on the ranking. There was hope for the rise of the Ming clan. However, why is Mingyu so angry? Eorong crawled up from the ground with great difficulty and said, "If Disciple has done anything wrong, please punish me." Wrong. Ha ha ha. Mingyu laughed loudly. "It's more than just a mistake. All of you are guilty, and your Ming clan is just like a bunch of brainless trash." He directly insulted the entire Ming clan. And very angry, Eorong clenched his fists and said solemnly, "If Disciple was wrong, then I am fine with you punishing me, but why are you insulting your ancestors?" "Humph," Mingyu sneered, listening to the slanderous words, "accidentally killing a loyal official, shouldn't you scold me? The entire Ming clan was being toyed with by one person. Should I scold him? A traitor of Ming clan has been worshipped and revered by you all for generations. Should I scold you?" Word for word, every sentence was filled with rage, as if it was accompanied by a chilling, killing intent. Eorong did not understand at all. Although the battle between Ming clan and God's tribe had lasted for 1,000,000,000 years, every disciple knew clearly that it was a battle of life and death. At the same time, it was also a massacre. Ming clan was massacred by the God's tribe. Mingyu laughed coldly. "Ming clan, how powerful were you back then? The number one clan in the ancient world, the S that control the entire universal large world. The powerhouse S that are on the primordial list make up more than half of them. The Ming clan S who cultivate the legacies of the ancient Ming clan. How awe-inspiring are they? There is simply no one who can defeat such a clan. But ancient world can't stay, and universal large world can't stay either. It's like a rat crossing the street. Wrong, you can't even compare to a mouse. At least mice dare to cross the street, but all of you can only hide in the dog hole. Do you know what this is all about?" Eorong shook his head and said, No, I don't know." Mingyu said, "Because Ming Long, he is the traitor of Ming clan. Do you think he is dead? Putting him as the Ming clan's war god and offering him up for generations. Do you know that everything you have today was because of him betraying you? How laughable. Ha ha ha. How ridiculous." Mingyu angrily laughed out loud. His laughter was filled with hatred. It should be the only one who knows the truth, because it had personally witnessed Pluto being killed by the Netherworm and saw the Netherworm carrying the Underworld King's head to Emperor Xian. The Netherworm has fallen. It was just a deceptive act. However, Mingyu did not expect that the descendants of the Ming clan would actually worship a sinner as a god and see him as the hope for the rise of the Ming clan. Pain. Extremely painful. No, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Lord Ming Long had been fighting Powerhouse of God's tribe for 3 days and 3 nights just to cover his retreat as an ancestor. If not for Lord Ming Long, not a single one of us in Ming clan would have been able to escape from him. Moreover, someone saw him being surrounded and killed by more than 100 Powerhouse of God's tribes before he died. Bullshit. Mingyu interrupted him angrily and said, "All of this is just a play. Do you know what he wants? What he wants is the complete inheritance of the superforce of Ming clan, and what he wants is the position of the King of Hell." Eorong said, "But..." Mingyu shouted, "There is no but, and you guys found his grave? If I am not mistaken, what you found was not his grave, but the trap he set. That's not right. This trap is not for you." Suddenly, Mingyu seemed to have thought of something and trembled slightly. This trap was not for you, but for me. Ah, Netherworm, how sinister are you? Mingyu roared towards the sky. The endless energy of the netherworld, Adumbra flower, was wreaking havoc again. And then Mingyu glared with his evil eyes, staring straight at Yurong, who was kneeling on the ground. Get lost, get out of here, and never appear again. Yurong said, Master, maybe all of this is just a misunderstanding. Lord Minglong really wouldn't. She didn't believe it, because he couldn't believe it. From the moment she found out about this, Dark Dragon was her idol, the war god. Not just her. The entire Ming clan viewed the Netherworm as a god. His place in the hearts of the descendants of Ming clan had actually exceeded that of Pluto, who had fallen without doing anything. Now, however, Yurong could not accept that he was a traitor, the sinner of Ming clan. Scram! He did not want to argue with Yurong. To be exact, he was too lazy to argue with Yurong because he also did not believe it in the past. Pluto's brother betrayed him. However, the truth was the truth. He definitely wouldn't be lying when he saw it with his own eyes. Moreover, he also believed that the Netherworm was definitely not dead. The so-called grave was definitely a trap. Yurong did not give up and said, Master, please help. I said, got out. Then, no, scram. Words. Then die. This sin. Every word, and every word was filled with a strong killing intent. On the altar. Although Mingyu was trapped by the seal on the altar, it was too easy for his strength to kill a person. Yurong's mind was almost unable to endure it any longer. His body couldn't support it either. The powerful netherworld in energy fiercely surged forward. Boom! The fierce wind howled and directly swept Yurong's body away from the secret world. Yurong was completely unable to control himself. When she was sent out of secret world, his mind was in a mess. Her brain was a mess. She couldn't figure it out. And then Yurong's gaze tensed up. Long Fei was still inside. However, without waiting for Yurong to rush into the secret world, a powerful force struck over, causing her to be unable to react in time, and a cold sword rested on her neck. Sister run! Instantly, whoosh, 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 several black figures descended and surrounded Yurong. Black Crow walked out with a sinister smile on his face. Yurong, let's wait for a long time. Hand the thing over. Chapter 2346. Chapter 2346. In the Secret World. Holy SH *T. Has the beholder gone mad? The power of the netherworld Adumbra flower continues to erupt. Long Fei cursed in annoyance. One after another. Too damn powerful. If not for the Transformers blocking him, he would probably still be flying in the sky. Transformers said, Boss, the altar is right in front of us. Long Fei trembled slightly, his heart tightened, and he jumped down from the Transformers' body and said, All right, I'll walk the road ahead myself. You can leave first. It was Long Fei who insisted on coming. If anything happened, he didn't want the Transformers to die with him. Transformers immediately said, Boss, you saved my life. The reason I was able to break through was also because of you helping me. I won't leave. He remembered Long Fei's kindness. No matter what happened, he would carry the burden for Long Fei. From the moment he promised to come with Long Fei, he had already thought things through. Long Fei said, No matter what happens when I tell you to run, you must run. Do not stay here, understand? The Transformers nodded and said, Okay. Huff. Long Fei took a deep breath and walked forward in large strides. Mingyu thought that Yurong had entered once again and shouted angrily, Are you not afraid of death? Holy SH *T. Long Fei thought that he had been discovered a long time ago. Since he had been discovered, Long Fei no longer had any qualms and directly said, "Since you have come, then I have never been afraid of death." Huh. Mingyu was startled. His evil eyes stared straight at Long Fei. "It's you." When they were looking at Long Fei, he had also noticed Long Fei and felt that there was a special kind of power within Long Fei's body. Even if it was him, he didn't know exactly what this power was. Long Fei said, "You know me?" Mingyu sneered and said, "Who are you and why should I know you?" F***CK. Long Fei scolded and said, "You're an object, all right? You're courting death." Mingyu's eyes widened and stared straight at Long Fei. A powerful stream of power of nether rushed out and directly struck towards Long Fei. And this wave of power, even if they couldn't kill Long Fei, they would probably cripple him. Long Fei was not a person who just sat there and waited for death. Moreover, he has a temper. Seeing a strong wave of energy approaching, he immediately took out the sky sword and said solemnly, "I still don't know who died." Transformers also instantly charged out as he wanted to block the attack. However, the moment Long Fei took out the sky sword, Mingyu's evil eyes suddenly trembled. Sky sword? Shwa. The power suddenly disappeared. There was nothing left. He had been crushed by Mingyu and disappeared. Long Fei was shocked. "You know about sky sword?" Mingyu's expression was somewhat agitated as she shouted, "Why is the sky sword in your hands?" Long Fei asked, "Why can't I have it?" "Humph," Mingyu coldly snorted. "Universal World's third-ranked divine weapon, also known as the First Sword. This sword comes from Ancient World." However, Mingyu felt that it was strange. Others might not know, but he knew it very clearly. He knew it even better than the Sky Sword's previous master, Long Zhanting, because this Sky Sword also came from the Ancient World. It's a divine weapon bred by the Ancient World and ranked third on the primordial divine weapon ranking. Why would such a small plane appear in it? And why is it in the hands of someone who possesses it and is even a dregs of the refinement stage? Mingyu was secretly puzzled. Long Fei was shocked and thought, "As expected, I knew this sword was not simple." Long Fei had always known this, but he had never thought that this sky sword would be so sharp. It was ranked third on the primordial divine weapon ranking, and one that came from the ancient world that gave birth to it. This sword, too awesome. Long Fei pretended to understand sky sword a lot and said, "You know a lot." Mingyu said disdainfully, "This kind of sword would be a waste if it was in your hands. You don't even know how strong it is, so you can't even use 1/10,000th of its power. Kid, tell me, how did you get it?" Mingyu really wanted to know, because the divine weapons produced by the ancient world had intelligence. This sort of divine weapon would choose its own master. If it wasn't for him choosing his own master, even if you had the strongest power, you wouldn't be able to use his full strength. The young man in front of him looked very ordinary, but Mingyu could feel that the sky sword was very freely in his hands. Long Fei said, "There's no need for me to tell you this." However, Long Fei himself did not know either. He knew that when he woke up, the sword was by his side. As for when he had obtained the sky sword, he had no memory of it. Mingyu said, "Brat, you are very arrogant." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Generally speaking, it is only third." Mingyu said, "Ordinary arrogant people would not be able to live past 3 seconds in front of me. This sky sword in your hands is a waste. Why not give it to me? I will let you live for a few more seconds." Long Fei's expression tightened and said, "If you have the guts, come and take it." He instantly entered a battle-ready state. Roar! Transformers also rushed out. His armor shone with a cold light and let out waves of roars. Mingyu gave a disdainful sneer. "Just you two pieces of trash?" Completely contemptuous. From the start, they had never placed Long Fei and Transformers in their eyes. Long Fei said, "We are trash. What are you talking about? Trash? Or was it a trash moon? How many years had he been locked up here? Poor bastard, you're courting death." Mingyu became angry, and his eyes became sinister. The powerful netherworld, Adumbra flower, surged forward like a surging tide. "Boss, hide behind me." Transformers instantly blocked the attack. Long Fei had wanted to let the Transformers escape quickly, but she didn't expect him to jump forward. Immediately, Long Fei did not care too much. Transformers. Parasitic possession technique. Open. Buzz. The idea moved and directly entered Transformers' body. This was the second time. The Transformers instantly accepted it. He wanted to compete with last time, but this time, Long Fei felt that the Transformers was even stronger. However, even such a powerful strength was not even worth mentioning in front of Mingyu. Long Fei also never thought of using this kind of power to deal with him. Thus, the moment Long Fei entered the Transformers' sea of consciousness, he moved and suddenly shouted, "Wild God energy, activate!" Boom, boom, boom. Its power rumbled like thunder. The armor on his body radiated a powerful light. Seeing the netherworld Adumbra power that was pouncing towards him, Long Fei's body sank. Buzz. He crossed his arms in front of his chest. He didn't try to dodge the attack. Instead, he directly took it head-on. The force struck forward. Rumble! 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 The void exploded, and Long Fei's enormous body continued to retreat, almost unable to withstand the force. Even if he released the Berserk God's power, Long Fei wouldn't be able to stop it, because Mingyu's strength was simply too strong. Right at the moment, when Long Fei was about to retreat explosively, the sky sword in his hands suddenly shot out, becoming bigger and thicker. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2347, General of Underworld, Explode. Chapter 2347, General of Underworld, Explode. The two forces clashed, and Long Fei was sent flying from the impact. Even the full release of the Raging God's power wasn't a match for Mingyu. Moreover, and it was even under the condition that Mingyu was given the seal. Not high enough. Not really. It was because Mingyu was too strong. But the moment Long Fei was sent flying, the sky sword in his hand suddenly flew out and transformed into a thick, big sword in the air. It was as if he had transformed. Long Fei was shocked in his heart. Damn, our sky sword's still going to grow bigger and stronger. Awesome! This was the first time the sky sword had transformed. Of course, it was only there to better coordinate with Long Fei. Mingyu looked at the sky sword that had grown in size and was also slightly shocked. Primordial first sword art is indeed worthy of its reputation. It is ranked third among the divine weapons and was birthed by the ancient world. Awesome! Just based on his spiritual sense alone, I'm afraid he has surpassed the first and second ranks of the divine weapons. Able to follow the master's will and change the shape of the sword. The spirit of this sword was beyond imagination. However, Mingyu was not afraid and said solemnly, "Sky sword are truly powerful, but that depends on who uses it, and if it's in your hands, you cannot use its full power." Boom! On both sides of the altar, space began to tremble and warp. In that instant, roar, roar. Two roars of ferocious beasts could be heard. "Boss, be careful." Transformers' consciousness roared out. At this moment, two super monsters rushed out from the left and right side of the room. They were even more ferocious than the previous super monster-s, and they were summoned by Mingyu in an instant. Long Fei clenched his right hand, tightly holding onto the sky sword. His body slightly sank. Charge! Boom! His body instantly charged out like a cannonball. The void moved. The sword slashed down. The sky sword released a strange glow, allowing Xuanabai's sword chi to be visible. With a sword stroke, the super monster's body was instantly split into two. Instant kill. This damage. A fierce battle. In the next moment, another demon beast rose into the air and rushed to the top of Transformers' head, smashing down from above. King Kong powerful fist. Buzz. His left arm sank. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Stabilized his body and brewed his strength continuously. The power on his fist flickered and burst out. Just a little more. Almost. Long Fei maintained his stability. He had to bring his strength to its peak. The moment the super monster landed, Long Fei threw out his left fist. Explode for me. Strength versus strength. A violent collision. The demon beast's head immediately split open. Transformers' left arm also went numb. His entire arm felt as if it was about to fly out. It was in incomparable pain. However, a terrifying damage floated up above the demon beast that had crashed into the ground, causing its blood to run all the way down to the bottom. Ding! Ding! 2 consecutive notifications sounded. He had also obtained 2 heavenly soul treasures and 2 force of variation S. The key point was Long Fei leveled up once again. His level had already reached the 5th grade of Qi refining. Roar! Transformers pounded his chest with both hands, releasing a burst of powerful roars. Long Fei said heavily, Come again. It was incomparably sharp. 1 hand with Sky Sword, 1 hand with King Kong powerful fist. 2 moves, 2 Super Monster S were instantly killed. This kind of carefree feeling made Long Fei's blood boil. Mingyu was also enraged. You dare to be so arrogant in front of me? Humph, you overestimate yourself. Mingyu glared, and the netherworld powers of the entire secret world began to shrink as they frantically gathered around Mingyu's altar. After a while, they finally surrounded Long Fei. It was like a hurricane. Long Fei was in the eye of the storm. General of Underworld. Boom, boom. Mingyu let out a loud shout, and immediately after, a ghost soldier that was over 10 meters tall, dressed in netherworld armor, and exuded a domineering and evil aura, appeared within the huge netherworld hurricane. He landed heavily in front of Transformers. Powerful! Long Fei was secretly shocked when he saw the General of Underworld, and the bloody wound on the head of the General of Underworld caused him to inwardly click his tongue. This, a health bar of a few meters square. Just how much health is that? However, the stronger you are, the more I like you. Long Fei shouted as the gigantic sky sword dragged itself on the ground, causing flames to splash out in all directions. When the General of Underworld saw Transformers rushing over, his body slightly sank as well. A charge! It left a long trail of afterimages behind it, incomparably long. This speed, it was dazzlingly fast. Moreover, in that moment, General of Underworld extended her right hand. Shwa! A long dark spear appeared in the middle of the spinning netherworld hurricane and landed in the hands of the General of Underworld. Without waiting for Long Fei to charge over, the long spear thrust it out. Be careful! Transformers warned. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. Your body... Transformers said, Boss, I can take it. All right. Long Fei also did not hesitate. Seeing the spear thrusting towards him, he did not dodge, but instead used his right shoulder to block it. Shwa! The dark spear had pierced through Long Fei's right shoulder. Blood spurted out. Mingyu also laughed out loud. Brat, I said you can't do it. Just as Mingyu was feeling proud, Long Fei controlled the corner of his mouth as he smiled sinisterly, who said that I can't go on anymore. With one hand, he grabbed the dark spear. The sky sword moved. He slashed horizontally. Shwa! Boom! The sword cut off the head of the general of Underworld. The huge head fell to the ground, but the general of Underworld's health did not drop to 0. Mingyu was slightly shocked, but he was not worried, because the general of Underworld, with its head cut off, still had super strong fighting strength. So what if I behead him? However, is decapitating okay? What about dismembering? Long Fei leaped high into the air, grabbed onto the sky sword with both of his hands, and ruthlessly slashed at the body of the general of Underworld below him. He used all of his strength. The general of Underworld's body continued to explode. Not only was the sky sword injured on the surface, its strength lay in the moment the sword slashed down. It would cut off everything in its body. Rumble, rumble, rumble. 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 The general of Underworld's body continued to explode. The gouges on top of his head continued to crack. The sword split apart the corpse. The blood on top of the general of Underworld's head immediately exploded. Long Fei's eyes stared wide. Staring straight at Mingyu, who was on the sacrificial altar, he roared out loudly, "Motherf *her. Who else is there?" Such savageness. So what if it was Mingyu? So what if you're a super monster? So what if it was a general of Underworld, the god of slaughter? Buddha blocking my path to kill Buddha. This is how I hang myself. Long Fei's roar, coupled with the arrogant and overbearing aura that came from Transformers' body, were extremely sharp. No one could stop them. However, the time for the arrogant god energy value was almost up. Long Fei didn't care in the slightest, as long as the general of Underworld gave him more arrogant god energy value. He could release it again. It was also at this time. The system sounded out. Ding. Chapter 2348. I am dying. Chapter 2348. I am dying. General of Underworld. Were monsters that were so powerful, they could definitely go berserk. There would definitely be a huge explosion. He had to go all out. Long Fei's heart suddenly tightened, and he thought to himself, "For shrimp, bless me. I don't want anything else. I only want striking energy value. As long as I can have striking energy value, none of this will be a problem." Right now, what he lacked the most was striking energy value. The moment he had 100 points, he would be able to release the astral energy again. However, this general of Underworld was something Mingyu had created using the power of Nether. Whether it could explode or not was a question. Bring it on. Boom. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing General of Underworld for obtaining 160,000 experience. True chi points. 200,000. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Underworld Spear. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Body Fusion Beast, General of Underworld. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently at the 6th grade of Chi Refining. Holy SH *T. System. Isn't your mother F ** King Deceit? What does lousy want? If not, what? Is there something like yours? Just go eat shit. Long Fei was about to collapse, so it could be said that he had no choice but to take the items that the General of Underworld dropped. Underworld Spear, divine level, and he even dropped the War Beast, General of Underworld. This fellow must be exceptionally valiant, but only Long Fei did not have the striking energy value he wanted. If this wasn't a scam, then what a troll. But the system is the system, and it will not change just because of a single word from Long Fei. Even if it is your 18 generations of scammers, you still wouldn't be able to do anything. Long Fei looked up into the sky. He had a feeling that the creator of the system was somewhere watching him, and in an instant, he could give out a string of commands, changing the drop rate of every monster. It could even turn a super boss into zero experience. Just like GM. I want you to live, I want you to die. Even in the water, he would be instantly killed. Don't let me find you. Otherwise, if I don't beat your shit out of you, it'll be considered my loss. Long Fei thought fiercely in his heart. According to his memories from his previous life, those beasts that looked like aliens and wore thick armors were all planted in his body, or a disguised human. Long Fei didn't know, but he was sure that the game system in his body had a creator, and he felt that these creators were watching him from somewhere. Huff. Long Fei took a deep breath. I want to become stronger and transcend the control of the system. Only then will I be able to surpass the existence of the system. However, Long Fei looked at Mingyu blankly with both of his eyes as he muttered in his heart, I think it's best for me to think about how to preserve my life. Kill the general of Underworld. On the altar, Mingyu was already furious. Ding! System notification. Arrogant God energy value time is over. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart as he stared at Mingyu, who was on the altar. Although he no longer had any arrogant God energy value, he could still use it. Long Fei's aura did not decrease at all. Mingyu, you're just SOSO. Are you even worthy to mock me? It was insanity. Overpowered him. Mingyu's eyes were sinister. The flames of fury were burning. Transformers could clearly feel the power in his body weakening. Boss, it's not good to anger him like this. And your strength. Long Fei said, no wonder you were imprisoned in such a place. You are the only one pretending with lousy, come. Not only did it not weaken, Long Fei became even more arrogant. Even the Transformers was a little afraid. Who was pretending? If his strength had been reduced to such a degree, how could he still be a match for Mingyu? There has never been a person who dared to be so arrogant in front of me. Even Pluto back then, even the Emperor Xian S did not dare to do so. How dare a puny human like you be so presumptuous? Do you think you are invincible just because you have Sky Sword? Do you think that you're powerful enough to kill a few of my nether demon beast? Kid, you're still far from it. As soon as he finished, Mingyu's crescent eyes fiercely glared. Rumble. Power like the sea, roar like thunder. At this moment, Mingyu's power could be considered to have truly erupted, as the entire secret world was filled with a sea of netherworld power, while Long Fei was like a small boat in the ocean. So F***Kingstrong. Long Fei's heart tightened. Who would have thought that not only did he not manage to suppress Mingyu, he had actually provoked Mingyu's super anger. Moreover, what was even worse was, ding, system notification. The parasitic possession spell's time is up. Long Fei's last 2 energies had been completed. The idea moved. He went straight back to his original body. Transformers was a demon beast of the 9th step. Be it his body or his strength, both were countless times stronger than Long Fei's original body. But now, if he went back to his original body, a 6th grade chi refining martial artist could kill him 100,000 times in an instant, much less the netherworld great wave. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart. It's truly raining at night. I really want to die. Transformers immediately felt Long Fei leaving his body. His expression also shook as he exclaimed in his heart, this is bad. Boss, you're saying it's almost time, and he's still acting so arrogantly. This time, it's good enough. This fellow must be infuriated. Sigh. Transformers felt a boundless sea of power. He protected Long Fei behind him and said, "Boss, I will endure all of these attacks. You must find a chance to escape. Flee." Humph! Mingyu was enraged and said, "All of you must die." Boom! A roar of rage rang out. The sea of Netherworld, Adumbra flowers, started to move. Boundless lightning appeared on their bodies and wreaked havoc. In an instant, boom! A huge wave of energy swirled up. Transformers bit the bullet and roared loudly, using all of his strength to block in front of Long Fei. Rumble! Long Fei's heart sank. He clenched his sky sword tightly and sent it flying with a sword strike. However, 6th grade chi refining. Too weak, too weak. This level of power was completely useless in this situation. Transformers blocked it instantly. Boom! Transformers let out a furious roar as his body was instantly thrown to the ground. He tried to push himself up with his arms, but before he could get up, a huge wave of energy smashed down. Rumble! He once again lay flat on the ground, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. It couldn't be duped. Their strength was not on the same level at all. It was too hard to bear. "Boss, quick, quick, run." Rumble! Transformers was directly knocked unconscious. Mingyu stared at Long Fei coldly and said, "Run? I want to see where I can run to." Long Fei's eyes darkened. His right hand clenched tightly as he said, Long Fei's dictionary does not have the word run." With a heavy leap, he flew towards the altar. "Humph! You overestimate yourself." Mingyu let out a cold laugh. The Netherworld Adumbra flower surged to a height of 10 meters as the Netherworld Adumbra flower smashed down heavily. "Kid, die!" Chapter 2349, Sky Sword, Spirits of the 10,000 Swords. Chapter 2349, Sky Sword, Spirits of the 10,000 Swords. From all directions, the tide of power. Each wave of energy was like a huge tentacle. Without waiting for Long Fei to rush up the altar, rumble! 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 From all directions, howls and explosions could be heard. That scene, it was impossible to put into words. Long Fei was instantly engulfed by the wild tide of energy. Moreover, all the bones in his body seemed to have shattered at that instant. Then his consciousness disappeared. In the end, when his mind became clear, he muttered in his heart, "I'm going to die. I'm sorry." Thinking about Long Zhanting in the Dragon Abyss dungeon, looking at the dozen or so chains piercing Long Zhanting's body, and how Long Wuqian ravaged Long Zhanting crazily, although it was only a dream, Long Fei couldn't help but feel very uncomfortable in his heart. He wanted to save Long Zhanting, but now he couldn't save anyone. He was going to die. Along the way, although it had only been a few short months, Long Fei did not regret it at all. 18 years later, I will be a good man again. Long Fei roared in his heart, and then he was completely unconscious, dead, alive. Long Fei was no longer able to control it. Arrogant in front of me? What are you? Mingyu was furious. He was born in the ancient world, even earlier than him in this world. Even the king of hell would have to respect him when seeing him. Even the current master of the universal world, the Emperor Xian, would not dare to act arrogantly towards him upon seeing him. A small human, a human who was only in the chi refining stage. What is it? Arrogant in front of him? Could Mingyu hold it in? No. As he watched Long Fei being engulfed by the surging energy from all directions, he coldly disdained. "You overestimate yourself." It was extremely disdainful. However, And it was also at this moment that Ming Yu's eyes turned sinister, because, under the waves of power, a strange light burst out and flickered. At this moment, boom, a sky-piercing power suddenly shot out. Wang. The sword hummed. It was extremely ear-piercing, and even Ming Yu had a painful expression on his face. The surrounding ocean of netherworld energy was also instantly crushed down, and the secret world became quiet. Long Fei fell onto the ground, his face pale white, as if he had died, without any expression. Ming Yu trembled slightly and said, "Sky Sword, you follow him, because he has no future. You are the first sword of primordial times, and you are the spirit of the 10,000 swords. You were born from ancient times. Why would you follow a trash like him?" Without waiting for Ming Yu to finish, suddenly, a ray of light shot out from the sky sword floating in the air. The light came out of the sky sword and transformed into a humanoid female, just like a fairy in a painting. Otherwise, there would be no life on Earth. The aura of a myriad sword spirit emanated from his entire body. Without waiting for Ming Yu to finish, he immediately interrupted him and said furiously, "Try saying that trash again. Do you believe that I won't cut you into two?" Anger. Sword spirit's fury. Moreover, in the instant that the sword spirit got angry, buzzing sound could be heard. The entire secret world, and even the entire Xianyu mountain range, released a series of sword hums, as though they were completely out of their control. In the valley, the swords of the Black Crow warrior began to tremble. It looked like it was about to fly out of the scabbard. Not only that, even the entire rock wall began to tremble intensely. It was as if the end of the world had come for this mountain of swords. Its power, this was too crazy. "General." The Black Crow warrior looked at the Black Crow quickly. The expression on the crow was also ferocious, sword intent. He had never seen such a strong sword intent. Just who could it be? Or whose treasure? And then the crow glared at Yurong and asked, "Did you really not get it?" Yurong was also shocked in her heart. She had seen Long Fei use the sky code before, but that kind of sword intent was completely different from the current one. Right now, the sword intent felt as if it was looking down on the heavens and the earth. Moreover, any sword intent would be useless in front of it. Has Long Fei become strong again? Is this the sword intent he was emitting? Yurong looked at the raven and said, "If you have the guts, go in and get them." The crow snorted. "What exactly is inside?" Yurong said, "You'll know once you get in." Xianyu Sect Artifact Forging Pavilion. This included all the disciples who were using the swords. All of them were faintly trembling. The long sword at Yu Wanshan's waist could not be controlled. As he looked towards the direction of the Xianyu mountain range, what actually happened? Gui Qingshan also had a face full of astonishment. Too powerful sword intent. The Xianyu sect was in chaos. The sword intent was too strong. In the secret world, Ming Yu's eyes turned sinister. He was also a little afraid. He could easily crush Long Fei, but he could not suppress the angry sky sword spirit. Moreover, although he was born from the same ancient world, he was still born from the same seal. Ming Yu said solemnly, "I don't understand. Why did you choose such a person? I don't see any potential in him. Blood vein don't have blood vein. His talent is average. It's just a few miraculous cultivation techniques. There's only one of it." Ming Yu wanted to say the word trash again, but he endured it. "This kind of person isn't worthy of you at all." That was the truth. Grand Mist's first sword. A divine weapon bred by the ancient world, how could a mere chi refining stage cultivator from a low plane of the universal world be worthy of the first sword strike of the primordial era? However, the sky sword spirit was ice cold, as it said, "What the F***ck are you doing?" Mingyu was startled. He could not see anything wrong with Long Fei in his eyes. Even if it was the gifted soul of Underworld S, he would not even spare a glance for them. There was no hint of surprise on Long Fei's body. Sky Sword Spirit said, "Do you think that you can see everything in the world with just your eyes? Do you think that the thing nurtured by your ancient world is that powerful? Damn it. There are some things that even Duke Ming would not be able to see if he was alive, let alone Emperor Xian." Sky Sword Spirit ruthlessly looked down on him. Mingyu was a little unhappy. His "I could see everything in the world," blood vein, talent, potential. He could see everything clearly. Even if it was the blood vein S on Emperor Xian, he could still see their talent very clearly. Even if he was being trapped by the seal, how could he not see the situation clearly? Mingyu said solemnly, "You can doubt me, but you cannot doubt my judgment of him. He is just a weak and lowly warrior. The blood vein on his body, his inherent skill, everything is trash. No, even trash would not be able to match up to him, because he does not have any inherent skills." Mingyu was also very angry. The Sky Sword Spirit was very high and cold, and it made her feel very disdainful when she looked at Mingyu. However, to prove that Mingyu was an eyesore, Sky Sword Spirit said coldly, "Look at him clearly." Suddenly, a ray of light shone down from the Sky Sword Spirit onto Long Fei's body. Immediately, a mark appeared on Long Fei's left arm. Mingyu was startled. A high-level mark of the Ming clan? Descendant of the Ming clan? Sky Sword Spirit was very dissatisfied. He shouted, "Look carefully." Next, a dragon-shaped mark appeared on Long Fei's right arm. And it was also at this moment that Mingyu's expression changed, as his eyes stared intently at the imprint that faintly appeared on Long Fei's right arm. "Master, master, my master?" Unbelievable. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. He was completely dumbfounded. Mingyu muttered, "Master." Chapter 2350. I want to bring him back to ancient world. Chapter 2350. I want to bring him back to ancient world, master. Mingyu called him master? Sky Sword Spirit was also slightly shocked. She only wanted to let Mingyu know about the hidden power in Long Fei's body, and only wanted to let him know how powerful Long Fei was. Sky Sword Spirit was puzzled. Master! One had to know. Even Pluto did not call him master back then. Just how powerful was Pluto? He was once the strongest person in the ancient world. Even he did not truly manage to tame Mingyu, and now called him Master Long Fei. It was shocking. Mingyu said, "The imprint on his body. Only my master has one, the ancient world, one of a kind." Sky Sword Spirit said, "Isn't that the Dragon Clan's mark?" Dragon-shaped mark was naturally the dragon race's mark. There were many in the ancient world dragon race, so this kind of imprint was not unique. Mingyu said, "No, the Dragon Clan's imprint is different from the imprint on his body. To be exact, it should be his created the Dragon Clan. That's why the Dragon Clan's imprint is similar to the imprint on his body." The Sky Sword Spirit was shocked. The dragon race was created by him? Mingyu said, "You don't know anything at all. Perhaps no one in this world knows about this, but I am very clear that before the appearance of the Ming clan, when the ancient times were born, my master was already here. He could be said to be an existence that was born in the ancient world at the same time. During that chaotic era, he represented the ancient world and held all of their power. It was also because I was taught a lesson by my master that I was born in the ancient world and became Mingyu's eye. There were still many people who were taught by my master back then, but now, I wonder if those brothers are still here. Mingyu's heart was filled with yearning. That period of domineering days with Long Fei was the most unforgettable moment in his life. Too nostalgic. However, Long Fei suddenly disappeared from behind. Without Long Fei there, none of them would be willing to obey, which resulted in all of them being separated, some even becoming enemies to the point of killing each other. Countless years had passed. How many could still survive in this world? Mingyu wasn't sure either. Long Fei disappeared. He searched everywhere, but he couldn't find anything. Also at that time, the ancient world's nurture gradually took shape, and one after another ancient inheritance was born, and the universal large world also slowly perfected it. After which, Pluto appeared. The reason why Mingyu chose to be Hades was because Hades was capable of bringing him out of this place. He wanted to find Long Fei in another plane, but he couldn't find it no matter how hard he tried. Even if he used all his strength, he wouldn't be able to find it. Now, Mingyu himself wouldn't believe it, but he recognized that mark, and it was extremely familiar. Only his master would have such a mark. Ancient inheritance mark. The same. It was also the first inheritance in the ancient world. It was also the most powerful legacy. It could be said that all of the inheritance power that the current ancient world possessed came from Long Fei. So he was the father of all inheritances. She did not know much about this. After she appeared beside Long Fei and familiarized herself with the information, she knew that her mission was to protect Long Fei. Even she didn't know about her previous life's master. Just like Long Fei, her memories had also been sealed by the seal because of the Sky Sword. Master, is that you? Is it really you? Mingyu grew excited, feeling extremely guilty in his heart, and he also hated himself to the extreme. It's all my fault. It's all my fault for being blind. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No one could understand the pain in his heart. If not for Long Fei, he would not have been able to become an adult, even after hundreds of billions of years of cultivation. Yet he had beat his own master down to the ground. This pain, Mingyu wished for nothing more than to kill himself. Sky Sword Spirit said, "He's not dead yet, but we were just a bit off. I deserve to die. I deserve to die. If I kill my master, I will never forgive myself." Mingyu said fiercely, with a lonely look in his eyes. Looking at the Long Fei who was lying on the ground, he felt extremely uncomfortable. Sky Sword Spirit also looked at Long Fei. She just couldn't understand it. How could he be your master? Isn't he the descendant of the dragon clan? Mingyu had no reason to lie to him, and it was not necessary because Mingyu began to look down on Long Fei. This sudden turn of events made Mingyu feel as if he had committed a heinous crime. The person born with the ancient world, what kind of person is he? The Sky Sword Spirit muttered to itself. She still couldn't imagine it. If it was really as Mingyu had said, then this man in front of him was really too strong. His potential, talent, maybe even the gods' tribe could not compare to it. Sky Sword Spirit asked, "What do you plan to do now?" Mingyu replied without thinking, "I don't know why Master has become like this, but no matter what price I have to pay, I will make him return to the peak of the ancient world. I want to bring him back to ancient world. The ancient world is his stage. This low plane of existence will only hinder his progress. Only the power of the ancient world will allow him to grow quickly. The ancient world gave birth to everything. It was like the original world of everything. Amongst the source energy, the training speed was the fastest. The strongest person in the ancient world back then was now a low-level warrior who had fallen to the lower realms. Mingyu felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He could do whatever he wanted if he saw someone in a bad mood. Every living being in the ancient world was afraid of him. Sky Sword Spirit said, Return to the ancient world? Mingyu said, "That's right. As long as he returns to the ancient world, he believes that his strength will rapidly increase, and that he might be able to unlock the inheritance seal in his body as well. As long as he releases all of the inherited powers of the ancient world and unleashes all of its power, then not to mention the Emperor Xian, even if all of the powerhouse of gods tribe combined, they would not be his match." He had seen Long Fei's power before. Emperor Xian is nothing. Moreover, at that time, Long Fei's ancient inheritance had not yet been cultivated to the great perfection stage. At this moment, Sky Sword Spirit suddenly said, "You even yourself are trapped by the seal, and you still want to bring him to the ancient world? I ask you, how are you going to take him?" A bucket of ice water was poured over him. Mingyu instantly became a little foolish. Sky Sword Spirit continued, "Since he is your master, then have you thought about how he became like this? Is this one of his own arrangements? Or should I say, back then he encountered an enemy that he could not defeat? He needs to start training again. And he has many seal less on him. The Ming clan's mark is sealed by the seal, and the dragon-shaped mark is also sealed by the seal. If you bring him back to the ancient world, what if his legacy's seal cannot be undone? What's more, right now, he is only a low-level warrior on the Zhenwu continent. His body, his mind, and everything else is unable to withstand the power of the ancient world. Do you want to bring him back to the ancient world?" Sky Sword Spirit said fiercely, "Can we go back?" You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.